everyone. We've got a unique stream for today because while we don't have a lesson today, as you probably all should know, I talked about that last week as well as didn't make an announcement this week. But anyway, you might still not know that, but we don't have a lesson today, but we do have a couple things. First of all, what we're going to be doing today is a review of some numbers. I think we're going to be doing Korean number review, unless you all prefer counter review. I'll let you vote on that in a bit. But it is also, not exactly, but kind of, I think, my 20th year anniversary. So it's been about, give or take a month. I could be off a whole month. It could have already been like January, or it could be in May. I don't know, but it's sometime around now. I'm pretty sure that I was sitting in a cafeteria and a Korean friend at my college was trying to teach me the alphabet, and I was learning some phrases. So it would be unofficially, my 20th year anniversary since I've started learning Korean. 20 years. It's pretty crazy. So I felt like I should do something for that. I shouldn't just let it pass by and make it into a tweet or I guess it's still called a tweet over on Blue Sky. I shouldn't just let it pass by. I should do something. So I figured I'll do a little stream just to acknowledge that it exists, that it happened. I've got some tea. I think this is some sort of tea I got from Korea from my friend. And to celebrate, of course, I didn't have cake, but I decided on pie. I think pie would be good. So I haven't eaten any of it yet. That's just, it was broken in the box, kind of like that. This is supposed to be banana cream pie. It's one of those, like, I think Marie calendars or whatever. One of those pies that you buy frozen, but you defrost and it tastes still should taste pretty good. So I don't know. We'll try this in a bit. I did taste the frosting on top, the cream on top, because it was on the spatula when I served it. That was really good. So I'm hoping the rest of the pie is that good. So we'll see. I'll have that in a bit, though. I'm not gonna start eating that just yet. We're still letting people come in. Still gotta say hi to everyone. Let's see who's here. Lady Natbug says there was an earthquake. I guess there was. I did not feel it, but you say it was a 4.1 and a 3. Yeah, I wouldn't have felt a 4. If I was aware that it was happening while it was happening, I'm sure I could have felt it. But, you know, us in LA, we're so used to earthquakes that unless it's like a big one, like something in the 5s, unless it's there, you're not even going to notice it, I think. Like, you're not going to stop what you're doing unless it's like a 5 or higher. Flo says, I live in hurricane territory, but the thought of earthquakes terrifies me. Yeah, they're all scary, just in a different way. Hey, Keith, welcome. Oh, Kyled, hey, I just got home from a little outing. Awesome timing. Nice. Yeah, thought of a hurricane gives me nightmares, says Lady Natbug. Yeah, I agree. I'd rather be here with earthquakes than somewhere else with hurricanes, because the buildings here are all built to code for earthquakes. So, I mean, if there's something really big, then, you know, it doesn't matter. But for general earthquakes, like 4, 5, 6, that type of stuff, like most buildings are going to be fine. You might see like a little bit of cracking on the walls, but nothing's coming down from that. Whereas a hurricane, it's like literally every year there are like 5 if you live in that area. Like your house completely gets flooded, you lose your things. I would rather deal with this than that. But, you know, everyone's got their preference. Welcome. Stizer says, I just got accepted into a study abroad program. Nice. That's awesome. Where are you going to be? Now I'm a college sophomore. That's cool. Where are you going to go? Says, going to be studying in Seoul this fall. Awesome. That is so cool. Yes, Lady Natbug, oh, notice the origami. Yeah, Jeremy, after last stream, I told him that you guys liked his crane. So he added this, which I think... Does anyone know what that bird is? What is it? Is it it's not a penguin. Is it a crow? I don't know, but he added it. And he stuck little eyes on it too. This isn't like a kit he has already. He just folds these himself and puts stuff on them. He got pretty good at doing that. He's been doing origami probably since he was like 4. Congrats. Banana cream pie is the best. Thank you. Yeah, and then for our stream, I mentioned this just a second ago, but we're going to be going over Korean numbers today, I think. But actually, you know what? I can make a vote. Would you rather review, because I have 2 cheat sheets that are coming up, Korean counters or Korean numbers? Now, I say numbers, it's not like 1 through 10. It's like all the numbers and all the counters is kind of what I'm talking about. So there's a lot of stuff on both of these. Actually, there's probably more information on the numbers one than there is on the counters one, simply because there is more like tips and notes about it. But anyway, they're both cool. I don't know which one I like more. I'm going to make a little vote in the chat. So people who are here first, those of you who are early right now, you can vote on what we do. Let's see. Let's do a poll. Okay, I think it's working. Yamak Xanadu is interesting name, asks, who's Jeremy? No, Jeremy is my son. The teddy bear is Keycat. Maybe it's a magpie. Oh, I think you're right. I think it is a gachi. In Korean, magpies or magpie? I don't actually know. I've never seen them in the US, but they're known as gachi. Gachi are very smart birds, and they're really cool birds also. And they're in Korea. They're like everywhere in Korea. Penguin raptor. That's cool. That would be a really cool one too. 필리 선생님 모자가 참 멋있어요. Thank you. I like my hat too. Maybe it's a seal? I don't think it's a seal. No, I don't think it's a seal. I mean, I could just ask him. Auricia says, I just want a little bit of both. Counters and numbers. All right, well, I'll do this. If the vote is within like 5 or 10%, if it's pretty close, then I'll do both. I'll do a bit of both. Fisho says, I live in New York. I rarely hear of natural disasters. Well, I mean, you get those really cold winters, though, where it's like snowing and I don't know. I feel like it would be really stressful to live in New York. I visited there twice. It was really stressful both times. And the second time I was there was during like this giant, I think it was like one of the hurricanes in, is that 2012 or 2013 or something, like sometime around then. And I was like stuck in New York. I couldn't even get out. So I had to do it because there's no more flights. What I had to do is take a flight. No, not take a flight, get on a train. And I barely got on a train because they were all sold out. I ran straight there, got on a train to, I think, DC. I'm trying to remember. And then took a flight out of there to go back. It was chaos. So I didn't have good experience both times I've been to New York. Maybe I should give it another chance. Fisho asks, do you think input or practice speaking and study is more important? Fisho, you've asked this before. You can't like, I see, practice speaking and study. Well, you can't really separate. These are apples to oranges. So you need both. It's like if someone wants to learn how to cook, would you tell them just watch cooking videos? Because you can learn a ton from watching cooking videos. Or would you say, nah, get your hands dirty, go in the kitchen, just cook, because you can learn a lot by doing that too. Well, you know, the best cooks, they're out there making stuff, but they're also learning from other people. Now, this isn't a one-to-one comparison because the way you learn a language is not the same way you're going to learn an activity like cooking or something, but it's kind of a decent comparison because you're not going to learn to be a well-rounded chef by just staying in a kitchen all by yourself all day and just cooking. Neither would you become a chef by just binging on Hell's Kitchen episodes. So, you know, you got to get both. You have to do both. Doesn't every counter need a number? Yeah, there is overlap. That's why. I mean, we could do both. If you want both, then make the vote kind of close, and we'll do a little bit of both. John Techby says, in Africa, Ghana specifically, we don't get hurricanes, and unfortunately our economy isn't ready for such disasters. Yeah, you've got bigger disasters to worry about than hurricanes over there. That's right. Jongsby says, I used to live in New Jersey, and the more you're in New York, the more you get used to it. You should give it another chance. Okay. I will say one thing, though. When I was in New York first time I didn't. The second time, I stopped by this random pizza place that was just near the hotel. It wasn't a famous place. It was literally just a random place on the corner. It was like the best pizza I ever had in my entire life. I swear the pizza was like cold. It wasn't even like that fresh. It was just the pizza, like it's just a display case. You see pizza, you're like, let me get a slice of that. Cool. Sat down, ate it. It was like incredible. I'm like, this is like on par with the best pizza I ever had in LA. LA has good pizza too, but you have to like search for it. Not everywhere is that good. But no, it was like this random corner and it's like amazing. So they got something going correctly there. Kai says, I'm currently trying to learn Sino-Korean numbers with my tutor and my brain is not fully grasping the larger numbers. Okay, well I can probably help you with that today then. Paris asks, what is a Korean counter? Well, I could probably help you with that as well. Oh, and this live will be fine for any level. Although, I mean, if you're advanced, I guarantee if you're an advanced speaker, you already know all these. Although, no, there might be a couple of the counters you don't know. And you probably don't know the really high Korean numbers, even if you're advanced, because they're just not used. Okay, let's see what we got. All right, it's exactly... We have 45% for 54% for counters. 55, whatever. And 45 for numbers. So more of you want counters. So why don't we do this? Why don't we focus on counters and do a little bit of numbers too? I think that's kind of what you want, right? If it was like 60-40, I would do one, but it's pretty close. So I think I'll focus on counters mostly. We're going to do a little bit of practice. I'll start with some sort of practice at around the top of the hour. Origami, you think it's an orca? Let me just ask. Let me just ask him. Hold on. Let me just ask Jeremy. I said, Jeremy, 종이접기 까치야 뭐야? And he's like, 까치예요. So it's a 까치. We've got confirmation that it is a 까치 from Jeremy. The ironic inverse percentage, yes. In the US, New York is top for pizza. That's right. Yeah. I mean, it's not like... I know they'll say it's the water. It's not the water. It's because they've got so many pizza places that you're not going to survive if your pizza's garbage. You have to have good pizza to survive. It's the same way. It's the same reason Korea has the best Korean food. It's not because they've got like special ingredients or anything. It's because there's so many Korean restaurants. If your Korean food is not good, you're going to go out of business right away. So yeah, I think it's great though. So I don't know, but that was pretty much all that I had. I had a pizza there and I got a sandwich as well. The sandwich was okay. Service was bad. I've had a lot of bad service experiences over there. Maybe I'm just too used to the LA service. But yeah. It's pizza. It's almost all good. Yeah, that's true too. It's kind of hard to make a bad pizza. When I was a kid, I don't know if any of you did that, but you take a tortilla and you put tomato sauce on it, like pasta sauce, and you put sprinkle some cheese, like from bagged cheese or whatever, and then you microwave it for like a minute or 30 seconds or whatever, and you get tortilla pizza. And that was good, right? So, I mean, pizza's kind of hard to ruin. The only bad pizza is if it's like really old or really like overcooked or undercooked. Like it's kind of hard to ruin pizza, I think. Keith says, bagel pizza was my thing. Bagel pizza is pretty good. Danzai Yama says, I always wanted to try naengmyeon. Naengmyeon is pretty good. Naengmyeon is North Korean food. Just a little random trivia for you. There are two types of naengmyeon. So Pyongyang naengmyeon is the recent one that's gotten popular, which is Pyongyang, obviously the capital. Pyongyang naengmyeon is more of like a rich flavored broth. It's served warm and it doesn't have a lot of like strong flavors. The flavor of it is the noodles and the broth itself. And the regular time, I think is that hamon? I'm not going to say it because I'm not 100% sure. I'm 99% sure. But anyway, the other type, which was more common until maybe a decade ago, was the regular kind, which is served cold and it's kind of vinegary and you put like mustard sauce on it and it's got ice in it and everything. And it's kind of like they'll put like lots of cold cucumbers and vegetables on top of it. That type is also really good. So I like both, but they are very different. Homemade pizza using pita works very well. Oh, that sounds really good. Chongsby said, I learned Gatsi from Duolingo. Nice. Kai asks, are you a pineapple on pizza person? Yes and no. In general, no, because that's gross. But if you do a spicy pizza, like, okay, here's something that you should try. If you don't like pineapple on pizza, like you don't like Hawaiian pizza, that's fine. I get it. But try this. Regular pizza, cheese pizza with, regular toppings, pepperoni, jalapeno slices, get extra jalapeno. So it's like lots of jalapeno slices, and then add pineapple to that. What it does, now pineapple normally, it just makes the pizza kind of sweet and gross, but when it's mixed with jalapeno, it really milds out the jalapeno and it makes it less, like it's still spicy, but it makes it more like you can tolerate it. Instead of just burning your mouth, it's like, like while you're eating it, it helps you to consume the pineapple pizza more easily. So I found that's a pretty good combination, pepperoni, jalapeno, and then pineapple. But I don't get Hawaiian pizza. I mean, I'll eat it if it's there, but I never order it myself. But I feel like pineapple has a good purpose in taming spicy flavors. Like if you have lots of jalapenos or like lots of banana peppers on your pizza, even though banana peppers aren't spicy, if you have it like jalapeno and banana peppers and like all this like hot sauce and all this stuff in your pizza, then it works well to balance that out. Otherwise, I'll say no. Yeah. Vahi, I can't pronounce your name, apologies. 20 years. Dang, YouTube has been recommending me your videos from 13 years ago. I started YouTube not 20 years ago. I started YouTube back in 2012. So it's possible that someone could have followed me from when I first started in, like, it was November 2012, which it's now been over 12 years, almost 12, well, 12 and a third of a year. 까치는 빛나같이 같이 있는 걸 좋아한대요. Yes, they do like shiny things that have value. I get what you're saying. Not pineapple pizza, says Yoi. Yes. What do you all think? Are you all for pineapple on pizza? Let's see. I don't know what you guys think. It doesn't have to be like, yes, I love it. No, I hate it. It can be like just a yes or no question. Like pineapple on pizza? Yeah. Nah, that's okay too. I'm just looking at how the vote's going. Interesting. It's kind of close so far. I'll leave that up for just a bit. Pineapple belongs as a standalone fruit, period. Have you ever tried the, they called golden pineapples? What are they called? There's another type of pineapple. So not the regular pineapple you get at the supermarket where you have to cut out the core and it like the core is hard, but there's another type of pineapple. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's like golden or something, where the core is edible. I got for, I believe it was a birthday present one year for my mom. She got me this pineapple that was like imported from Hawaii. And it was a different type of pineapple. I think she paid like $50 for it. Yeah, she said, I think it was something like that, like 30 or $50 for one pineapple. And you peel the outside, you skin, get rid of all the stuff on the outside, obviously. But then after that, you eat the whole thing. You just slice it into discs and you eat the whole thing. The core is soft and edible. And it's big. It's like full size. There are some baby pineapples that you can buy that are small and you can eat the core, but no, this is like a full size. And it tastes better than regular pineapple in addition to being completely edible. Does anyone know what this is? It was amazing. I had it once as a birthday present. It was so good. I've seen people put ice on pizza. Okay. Pineapple pizza를 좋아하지 않는다. I do not like pineapple pizza. That sounds like kind of reminds me of Dr. Seuss. Would you put it on a pizza? Would you eat it with I don't know. Okay, the conclusion. Pineapple on pizza. Yes, 43. No, 57. So I think we're gonna have to go with no. I was in the yes camp, but, I respected the no camp. I don't understand ice on pizza, though. That doesn't make any sense. Is it like the pizza's burning hot, so you're putting ice on it to cool it down? Because you want the taste of day-old pizza? Maybe. Day-old pizza is actually pretty good sometimes. Like, you eat pizza, you get nice and full, you throw it in the refrigerator. You just put the whole box in the refrigerator. Then the next day you take it out. You don't microwave, you just eat it. That's good too, depending on the pizza. So maybe they're trying to get that feeling a little bit faster. So they put ice on the pizza to cool it down. I don't know. I mean, you could do this. This is the kind of stuff you can do when no one's looking. Just put ice on your pizza or pineapple. Someone asked a question, Official asked, is food a big topic in Korea? Yes, it is. It's very big. Okay, so I mentioned this, but I've been studying Korean now for give or take a month. It's been 20 years. I don't remember exactly when I started, but it was sometime around this time in 2005 when a friend at college was trying to teach me the alphabet. And so in honor of my 20-year anniversary, today we're going to be doing a few things. We're going to be reviewing some counters and numbers. I'm going to be slowly eating some banana cream pie that I got. Smells like really good. It has a strong banana flavor and the cream smells really sweet. It's not whipped cream. It's kind of like a gelatin, like a thick cream. So I'm going to try this. I'm really curious. I tasted the cream and it was great, but I hadn't tried the banana cream pie. So let's give it a try. It's very sweet, but it does taste like banana cream pie. Yeah. It's not overly sweet though, but it is very sweet. And the crust is a little dry. Not surprising because it's frozen. I mean, it was frozen, but actually I think there's a little chunk of ice in the piece I just had. But yeah, it tastes like real banana cream pie. Yeah, there is ice in there. That's good. Okay. Paris asked, do you like banana milk? Yeah, banana milk's pretty good. Owen says, honeyman. Vixie says, I got a pizza once with French fries, but it was really just potato slices that were all soft and yucky. They have that at, hold on, wait, Kai says donation made via PayPal. Oh, while I'm checking that, they do have potato wedges are a very common topping on pizza in Korea. So if you say you want potato on your pizza, it's going to be those wedges. Now, they're not soft and yucky. it is like potato wedges and they get crispy. So the outside's crispy, the inside's kind of soft, but it's pretty good. Oh, wow, Kai, thank you. Thank you so much. Kai just sent me a $20 donation. Kai, is that $20 for 20 years? So what you're telling me is, Kai, that if I live until I'm 100,000 years old, I'm going to get some serious donations. That's what you're telling me? All right. Challenge accepted. I'm going to be the oldest Korean teacher alive. You're going to see Go Billy. You're going to get Go Billy Korean rammed down your throats until you're 1,000 years old. And I'm going to be doing it. I'm going to be like, I'm going to have so much like gray hair everywhere. I'm going to be completely like blind, paralyzed. I can't move or do anything, but I'm still going to have this channel. And Kai's donation, $1 per year I've been learning Korean, is going to keep my heart pumping. Like all of the medical stuff I've hooked up to me to keep me alive. It's going to be funded by Kai. Thank you, Kai. I really appreciate it. I get it. It sends a clear message to me. Another year, another dollar. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be the first 1,000-year-old Korean teacher. Just wait. Go Billy Korean, 400,025. Yes. I'd be happy to pitch in for Korean teachers retirement fund. Believe it or not, I do have a retirement account. It just doesn't have that much in it, but I don't have a company that's giving me a 401k. So if I don't do something, I'll literally have nothing. So I do have it. It's not that much. I'm working on it. Okay. So we're going to do something kind of fun. I have a couple new cheat sheets coming up. One of them, you'll actually see it. It's going to be in the next video that's going to be coming out. But that's a counters cheat sheet. This has all of the most common counters and a lot of the fairly common Korean counters. So I'm pretty proud of it. I got a lot on here. Obviously, it's not every counter in the world because in Korean, you can technically make any noun. I mean that. Any noun can be a counter. You can say 두 사람, literally two people. You can say it. It makes sense. And there are situations when you would do that. You can say like, 세 tablet, like 3 tablets. Like you can do it. It makes sense. And if there is no other counter for something, you can just count things with nouns. And a lot of counters are simply nouns, like a really common one, cup. Cup is a counter, but it's also just the word for a cup. Like, 컵을 샀어요. I bought a cup. It's literally just a noun, but you can count it. Like, 세 cup, 3 cups. It's a counter now. So this doesn't have every single counter ever, but it does have all of the common ones. So I don't think we should go through all of these. I think some of them are pretty obvious, but I'll quickly list some of the really obvious ones. These are the 4 most obvious ones. We'll just kind of go through, talk about counters and numbers together. Check chat, make sure I'm not missing the chat. Egg sounds good on pizza. Egg? I don't know about that. I've never tried that. But, maybe it could be good. A new goal. Billy retirement fund. Yeah. All of those markers are eating away the retirement money. It's true. 40만 25. Oh, if you're talking about, yes, it is, Keith. Very good. Arisha says, I only know the 9 counters Duolingo taught me. Okay. Willow asks, when do you use native? And okay, yeah, we'll talk about that. So there's a really, on my numbers cheat sheet, it actually tells you this. There's a very easy way to know when you're going to be using pure Korean or Sino Korean. Maybe we should go over that. Actually, first I'll go over these and then we're going to go over that tip. So all of these counters, 개, 명, 마리, and 살, All of these are used with pure Korean numbers. Now, pure Korean is 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, like that. So all of these are pure Korean. And in fact, most of the counters you're going to learn in Korean, 99%. I mean, maybe not, but yeah, let's just say that 90% of the counters in Korean are just pure Korean numbers you use with them. So it's pretty simple. But I'll talk about when you would use one or the other also after these. So K is just a general counter for things. So if you wanted to count 10 things, you just take the pure Korean number for 10, which is 열. K. You're done. 명. So this is thing. This is people. This is animals. And this is years old. So if you buy a thing, how many things did you buy? You can't just, like, for example, if you want to say, I bought 3, let's not use pen because pen has its own counter. Let's do a different example. Let's say camera, camera. You say, actually, camera has a different counter too because that's an electronic. Let's think of something that doesn't. Okay, here we go. Oh, pi actually does have a separate counter, so we can't use that. Goodness, what do we count that's really simple that I can use with K? Okay, this thing doesn't have a counter already. There's not like a special way to count it. Like it's not a year-old thing. It's not a people. It's not a special object like an electronic or anything. It's just a thing. I don't know what it is. So how would you count this? How would you say I bought 1? I bought 2. Well, you wouldn't just say 둘 샀어요. 둘. 하나, 둘, 셋. You wouldn't just say that. You have to use a counter. So you say I bought 2. In English, we wouldn't just say I bought 2. We would say I bought 2 of these, right? Or I bought 2 things, or I bought 2, if it's pages, I bought 2 pages, or 2 shirts, or 2 hats. So you need a counter that represents the item that you're buying so that you don't have to say that thing you're buying. So if you wanted to say I have 2 of these, you would use K because it's just a general thing. Anything that doesn't have its own counter, and there are a lot of things that do, but if it doesn't have its own counter, this is the default counter for counting any physical thing. Now, I shouldn't just say thing, I should say physical thing. So if you can touch it, it's counted with this. It's not alive, so it's not an animal, it's not a person, just count it with K. Even if you are supposed to use a different counter and you just use this, they'll always understand you. So, yeah, K. There are some exceptions for this, though, which I'm going to talk about in a second as well. 명 is for counting people. So if you say 3 people came to the party, you wouldn't say 파티에 셋, 3, 셋, right? 3 is 셋 왔어요. You wouldn't say that. You would have to say it with 명 for a counter. Now, there's something that you need to know. 1 through 10 in pure Korean, you probably already know that. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, like that. When you use the numbers 1 through 4 before a counter or before any noun, when you use the numbers 1 through 4 in pure Korean, this is in pure Korean only, they change. So instead of just saying 하나, right? The normal number 1 is 하나. But when you're using 하나 before a noun or before a counter, it actually changes to 한. And the normal counter for 2 is 둘. But when you use it before a counter or a noun, it becomes 두. And then 3 is 셋. But when you use it before a number or counter, it becomes 세. And as well as 넷 for 4 just becomes 네. So you get 한, 두, 세, 네. So now you can say 한 개. You wouldn't say 하나 개 or 하나 명. You would have to say 한 명, 한 마리, 세 살, 네 개, 네 명, 두 명, 두 마리, like that. But every other number, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 여덟, 아홉, 열, every other number beyond in pure Korean, all the way up to 99, because that's the max for pure Korean, is just counted regularly. So if you have 다섯 for 5, it's just 다섯 개, 다섯 살, 다섯 명, 다섯 마리, like that. The other exception is the number 20, which normally is 스물. Well, it's actually really easy, but if 20, 스물, anytime 스물 comes before a noun or a counter, it just changes into 스무. So if you accidentally say any of these as like 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, like if you forget to do this, it's not really a big deal. They'll understand what you mean. But to sound more native, you need to change the numbers 1 through 4 and 20 whenever they're before a noun. Now, this is only the number 20. It's not the number 26. It's only when 20 itself is before any counter. So if you wanted to say I bought 20, 스무 개 샀어요. But if you want to say I bought 21, it's 스물, 20 again, 스물 한 개, like that. It's only the number that comes directly before the noun or the counter. It's not just 20 anything or anytime 20 appears. It's literally just 20, that's it. Only if 20 is before. If it's like 22, 21, it goes back to 스물, like normal. So yeah, it's just the number comes before. Okay. Orisha points out correctly, there is a counter for long things. Yeah, that's on this cheat sheet as well. We'll get to that too. There's even a counter word for corpses. Yes, there is. Cool. That's right. That one is not on the counters cheat sheet because it's not that common. It shouldn't be common that you're counting corpses. Right. Okay. I do want to go a little bit over numbers though. So I said really briefly, this is for things, this is for people, body is for animal, 살 is for years old. So if you're saying like, I'm 10 years old, 10살입니다. 이에요. Like that. I am 20 years old. 20살이에요. That's it. So the obvious question that I'm going to get is, when do I use pure Korean numbers and when do I use Sino-Korean numbers? So I want to talk about that before we go on to any more counters, because there are a lot of counters. We're not going to cover all counters, but I do want to cover most of the ones on this cheat sheet. So I have some tips. And you'll also get them when I release this cheat sheet, but it might be a few more weeks before I release this. I'm still kind of finishing out the details a little bit, but it's mostly done. If you are just counting out loud, like I'm saying 1, 2, 3, whatever, you can use either one. It really does not matter at all. 1, 2, 3, 하나, 둘, 셋 makes no difference. None. You can just use either one if you're just saying the numbers. However, why was I writing however? I'm going to write SK for Sino-Korean, which is 1, 2, 3. And then PK for pure Korean, which is 하나, 둘, 셋. So if you're just counting regular numbers, you can use either one. But if you want to know which one's more common, pure Korean numbers are more common for small numbers. So if it's below 5, it's more common that you're going to hear people saying 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, like that. Then they will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So small numbers, pure Korean is going to be more common. If you are counting down, you're going to want to use Sino-Korean. If you're counting down from any number above 5. So again, it's not a small number, but you're counting down now from above 5, like say you're counting down from 6 or counting down from 10, then you need to use Sino-Korean numbers. It's really weird if you were to count down 열, 아홉, 여덟, 일곱, 여섯, 다섯, 넷, 셋. That's really weird. So it's always Sino-Korean when you're counting down above 5. Carrie! I saw red and I was thinking, oh, someone donated in pesos. Because it'll also go red if you donate in like any large number. Wow, Carrie. Dang. Oh my God, thank you so much. 안녕하세요, 선생님. 행복한 기념일 되세요. 오랜만이에요. Wow. Dang. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, YouTube doesn't know how much anything is. It'll just make it red if it's like over 50 or whatever. And if you donate in like another currency that has really high numbers, it doesn't know for some of them. It'll know like Korean currency, but it doesn't know all of them. So sometimes it'll be like they donate like 500, but it'll be like $2 or something like that. Wow, dang. Kai says, let me talk to the Adobe team and see what we can do. Are you talking about corpses, Kai? Is this related to corpses? Is Adobe going to send mercenaries after me? Wow. Anyway, thank you so much, Carrie. If you'd like, you can cash out your dabs at any time. Just let me know. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna have another bite of cake. It's for Carrie's donation. This bite is in your honor, Carrie. It's really good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. If I say Marie calendars, does anyone know what I'm talking about? Used to be a lot bigger. I don't know if they were in other states. Yeah. Not terrible. As a frozen pie, not terrible at all. Kai says, chat told me to up my donation. No, Kai, don't feel pressure about that. Okay. So if you're counting down from above 5 Sino-Korean numbers, I'm going to get really specific here. I hope you don't mind. Because the real answer to which one should I use is pretty specific. I can't just say, just use this or this. It's not that easy. Okay. If you're doing anything official, you're counting for the Olympics, you're repeating off some number, it's an official, you're giving an announcement. It's only going to be in Sino-Korean numbers. If you want an official feeling, you have to use Sino-Korean numbers. The end. Now this is not with counters though. This is just the numbers by themselves. We haven't even gotten to when you're using them with counters yet. There's a trick for counters as well. Okay. If you're counting anything that's 100 or more, it doesn't matter if you're using a counter. Whether you're using a counter or not, anything 100 or above, you have to use Sino-Korean because there is no Korean number, pure Korean number above 99 that's in use anymore. Traditionally, there were higher Korean numbers than 99 in pure Korean, and some people might know them. I know some of them, but they're not used. If you use them, people will give you a blank stare. Once you get to 99, pure Korean numbers end. So anything 100, it doesn't matter what you're counting. You could be counting, the K, Myung, Mari, Sar, whatever. Even though it normally would use pure Korean, anything 100 and above, you have to use Sino-Korean. So it immediately becomes Pek, Pek-il, Pek-i, right? For 100, 101, 102, 100%. You would not say, like, for example, if you had like 110 people, it's not Pek, 10명. No, it's 110명. You just go straight to Sino-Korean. Any number above 99, you have to go to Sino-Korean. However, it's actually easier than that. I'll give you a trick. Numbers from 30 to 50, between there, depending on the person's age, younger people usually start earlier, older people usually start a little later. People just switch to using Sino-Korean number system anyway, no matter what you're counting. So we were talking about K, like 한 개, 두 개, 세 개, 네 개, 다섯 개 for counting things. But what if you're counting 30 things? Well, 30 is 30. 서른 is 30. Let me just check the chat real quick. Thanks for the hearts, Carrie. Yes, great cakes and pies. Yeah, there's still a few of them. That's really good. It's like a diner that focuses on pie. Their food's good too, but you really go there for the pie. And it's the only place that I know that actually has good pies. Like, you can, where else are you gonna get good pies? Like an actual restaurant that has good pies. You can get good pies if you buy them at like a specialty bakery. They might have like 3 kinds of pies. Marie Callender's is like the Baskin Robbins of pies. They'll have like 20 different kinds of pies and they're all ready to go. You walk in, hey, can I get like a rhubarb pie, a blueberry pie, banana cream pie, a cherry pie? They're like, oh yeah, here, just give us a second. They just put them all in a box. And they're fairly priced, really good. But I haven't found any other place that you can get that kind of pie from. You just go get a bunch of different pies. You can buy like 1 or 2 different types of pies at most diners, but no, it's like 20, 30 types of pies. Like Cheesecake Factory, but for pies. Okay. If you're younger, you can probably get away with just not even using this word ever. 서른 is 30 for pure Korean. You could just say 30, 30개, 30명, 30마리, 30살. Now, the 살 is a little bit different though. We'll talk about that. But if you're younger, you can just start using it from 30 or 40, but at least 50 you're safe. Now, you don't have to. You can keep saying, for example, 서른, after that 40 is 마흔. And the pure Korean numbers continue every 10, they change. But you can get away with not using that above 40, 50. For me personally, I use pure Korean up until 49 and I switch out from like 50. But some days I'll switch from 30. It just doesn't really, it matters however I'm feeling that day, I might switch from 30. So if you want to just start, you only really need to worry about pure Korean numbers up to 29. So it's not that big of a deal. But there is an exception. There's one counter that's an exception, and that's the word 살 for counting how many years old someone is. This one, although it's okay to switch to using Sino-Korean numbers once you reach 30 to 50, somewhere in this range, like 30, 40, 50. I don't mean like 31 randomly, but like from 30, 40, or from 50, like that. Although it's okay, this counter is different. People do not switch away from this. They still use Sino-Korean numbers with this counter. People still use pure Korean numbers with this counter all the way up to 99 on a regular basis. You'll hear people talking about age with pure Korean numbers for all of them. So you still, unfortunately, need to learn 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, even if you're not using them often. But there's a trick. I'll tell you a trick. So first, write that down. I'll give you a little trick how you can avoid that. But Owen says, I'm starting from 10. No one starts from 10. I have heard people start from 20, where they say 20, 20명, 20마리, 20개. I've heard that more often than you might think. So if you really, really want to be lazy, start from 20. But I've never seen people start from 10. It just feels like they don't know what they're talking about. But I have heard some Koreans start from 20. They also know for their chicken pot pie. Okay. My history teacher was telling me they used to work at Marie Callender's. Oh, nice. One time I went there, asked for chocolate pie. They gave me a bowl of pudding. Yeah, that's what chocolate pie is. It's literally pudding with the crust. So as long as you got the crust in there, you got chocolate pie. Kai says, do you have an FAQ video regarding how to say higher Sino-Korean numbers? I do. Yeah, for very, very big numbers, but it's useless. Really useless. But we're going to talk about those today anyway, so you don't really need to watch that. Okay. There's a trick though. So although the counter 살 still uses pure Korean numbers all the way to 99, now beyond there, you have to go back to Sino-Korean. There's no pure Korean. You wouldn't say 온살. On is the pure Korean word for 100 that's not used anymore, you would not say that. You would just say pek. You just go to Sino-Korean. But if you don't want to do that, you still have to learn all of the pure Korean numbers. But if you don't want to use them yourself, just use the word 세 instead. Use this counter. 세 is the same meaning as 살. It's a counter that means years old, but it's more polite. It just sounds extra polite. It sounds more formal. It sounds more polite, like you're being extra respectful when you're saying the age. But you can use it for your own age too. It just sounds like you're being extra polite, extra respectful when you use it. But this one uses Sino-Korean numbers. So it's 10세, 20세, 30세, 40세. Now, it's not common to say your age with say if it's like a low number. Like if you're like 15, you don't want to say 15세 like for yourself. It's just kind of weird. Just say 15살. But you can. It sounds more polite. And if you want to tell someone or ask, say, oh, my grandfather, they're 88 years old, and you don't know the word for 80. You're like, oh, is that Yolden? It's not Yolden. It is Yolden. But you're like, I can't remember what it is. 88세. Boom. There you go. Easy. And now you sound a little bit extra, like a little bit more formal, and it's okay. They might repeat it back to you in this, but at least you can say it yourself this way without stressing out. So this say has the same meaning. It just uses Sino-Korean numbers instead of pure Korean numbers. Rai says, unfortunately, no crust. Oh, that's disgusting then. It's supposed to have crust. Chocolate pie at least has the crust, and then it's like pudding inside of it. Okay. And there are actually a lot of other polite versions of counters, and I'll talk about some of those too. So not just 살. Okay, so there are some exceptions. We talked about a few already, but there's one more exception I need to talk about. When you're using Sino-Korean numbers and you get to any number that ends with 16, which is shim yuk, spelled as ship yuk. Anytime there's any number that ends in this combination. Oops, what did I do here? Whoa, what? Jin, who's Jin? Jin? Who is this guy? Just came out from nowhere. Gene, have I ever seen you before? This new person I've never seen before jumps in the chat and says, 전 24년쯤부터 빌리 선생님 채널을 보고 있습니다. Thanks for everything, dude. Cheers to 20 more. Dude, thank you. Wow. Wow, man. Someone's been watching my channel for now 10 years. Have I seen you comment before? I'm like clicking on the donation message, and it gives me options like ban this user, kick, delete comment. I'm like, no. I'm just trying to see if I know this user. No, silent watcher. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Now I'm like scared. I'm like, are there other people watching me that I don't know? Yeah. 정말 감사합니다. 대단히 감사합니다. Wow. Kai says, okay, y'all, I cannot compete with chat. No, Kai, don't try to compete. This is not a competition. I appreciate everyone who can and can't donate, because it's still, at the end of the day, it still becomes a view. I'm still happy to be able to teach more people, so it's okay. And Kai says, CEO Kai has failed. Cookie says, not related, but thank you, Billy, for all your hard work. I'll come to Korea next year, and I'll make it also thanks to your lessons. That's awesome. I'm going to be in Korea this summer. I'll be doing another fan meetup. I don't know when. Probably at the end of May or early June, maybe. I'll do another fan meetup. Probably the same place as last time at the Han River. So I'll post that as it gets a little bit closer. Just letting you know if anyone's going to be in Korea this summer. Oh, hey, Flo. Flo has our first donation to my retirement fund. I mentioned that. Hold on, let me write this a little nicer. I wrote that too quickly. I mentioned that I do have a retirement fund. It doesn't have much in it, but I do have one because I don't have a. I'm not employed. There's no boss over me. I don't have any employees. I don't have a company. It's just, well, I mean, I do, but it's just me. So I have to make my own like 401k essentially. There's just not much to put in it. So I'm hoping though, if I can keep this up for like 20 more years, then eventually by slowly adding money to it every now and then, that it'll eventually be enough to that plus, if we still have Social Security, that plus Social Security, then I'll be okay. You know, that's the dream. But yeah, appreciate it, Flo. I'll put a little note here. R for my retirement. But I don't have any plans on retiring soon, so I'm gonna be a really old Korean teacher. I know it. Everyday Korean says, 선생님 그런데 한국 어디 사세요? Oh, I'm in LA. I'm not in Korea. But I'll be in Korea again this summer. I'll be in Seoul and I'll be in Suwon. Those two places are where I spend my time. Paris says, I can't donate. I'm poor. No worries. No worries. Avita asks, how often do you do fan meetups? I do fan meetups once a year so far. Kai just sent an alert. I don't know what that means. Kai just sent an alert, but I don't see anything. I don't know what that alert is. It's just, I'll check again in a second. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Anytime you have any number in Sino-Korean that ends with ship and yuk, so 1 and 6, it has to be this specifically. Because the reason I'm saying this is because you can actually have 26. 26 in Korean is 이 16, right? It's still 2, 10, 6. So this also applies to 26, 36, 116, 186. Anytime you have ship, yuk together, it gets pronounced as this. And you need to know this. Because if you say shibyuk, it sounds messed up. It sounds, honestly, it kind of sounds like you're swearing. Shimyuk. Shimyuk. Yes, shimyuk. And I believe the reason is this has to do with the Anian 첨가 rule in Korean. There's a sound change rule that specifies why this happens. But you don't really need to know that because in this case, you only need to learn it for this number. There are no other numbers that this happens with. So just ship happens with this a lot. There are several cases where ship becomes shi, but with numbers, it's just 16. So 16 or any version of 10 and 6 becomes pronounced as shimnyuk. Wait, did Flo say something? Hold on. Did Flo say something else? Did I miss something? I don't know. Did I miss a comment? If I did, I'm Oh, sorry, Flo. I misread. Thank you. Again, then. I was thinking 20, 25. That's even better. I could buy 2 pies for that at Marie Callender's when they have their sales. They do like $10 pie or $15 pie for like any pie you want. They're super good. Seriously, Cheesecake Factory for one. Cheesecake Factory is incredible if you like cheesecake. Marie Callender's is incredible if you like pie. It's like the same deal. Like if you want a cheesecake, Cheesecake Factory, go there. Get their banana cream pie cheesecake. Incredible. Marie Callender's, get the banana cream pie. Incredible. It's all banana cream pie. It's just, that's the best pie and the best cheesecake. But you have other options too. Okay. Oh, Kai says, now I did a donation. Okay, well, my email's being slow. So I don't see it, but I'll check it again. I'll check it again. Give me a minute. I'll check it again. Okay. Back to counting. Money. You didn't see this. Money is all gonna be Sino-Korean. Doesn't matter what currency. Sino-Korean. Dates. like the year, month, day, all Sino-Korean. 100% Sino-Korean. No exceptions. Always going to be Sino-Korean. Any sort of measurements. All Sino-Korean. This could be degrees, like Celsius or Fahrenheit, distance, weight, volume, length, height, any sort of measurement, 100% South Korea. I keep saying South Korean. Sino-Korean. That should be pretty easy, right? And any number in general, it's just a number. Always Sino-Korean. So that'll be Oh, I see. I got a donation from Joe. Thank you, Joe. Joe says, thank you all for your teaching over the years. You helped me learn a lot from a silent watcher. There's all these silent watchers. This is spooky. There's people watching. I don't even know who they are. Thank you, Joe. Hot dog bar. Hot dog bar. Thank you. Nice name. And then Lido Spile, I can't say your name, sorry. I love this channel. I want to learn Korean language a lot more. Love from Goa, India. Nice. Let me check my email, see if, oh yeah, hey Kai, we got something. Kai, you don't have to show up. You don't have to show other people. Kai just sent me $30 donation. Making it a $50 donation. Thank you so much, Kai. You don't have to. Adobe is not contractually obligated to donate to me, but I really appreciate it. Jongsby says, low-key Billy, you should hold an IRL class for your retirement fund. I kind of do when I do my fan meetups. It's kind of like a live class that I have. I do a live Q&A for like 20 minutes there. Billy is making great money this 20-year celebration. I know, it is. This is great. I like to lurk. Avita says, do you know your MBTI? Yes, I do. We are trying to bribe you, says Kai. Yeah, I am. So before this, I need to preface this by saying MBTI culture in Korea can be a bit toxic. So for all those who don't know, you could just Google MBTI or check out the Wikipedia page and read the arguments against MBTI, how it's not scientific, how it doesn't actually mean anything. Or you can have me tell you that it's not scientific and it doesn't actually mean anything. But if you know that, it's fun. Some Koreans, it's not everyone, but there are some Koreans who put too much weight into a person's MBTI that companies will not hire people with certain MBTI because they feel like, oh, you're not going to be a good fit for our company unless you're an E or unless you're an I. So there is a bit of that negative culture around it. But as far as if you look at it as kind of like, what's your blood? What's your type? You know, what's your horoscope? Like that sort of thing. Like then it's fine. It's just for fun. I am ISFJ. Believe it or not. Everyone thinks I'm an E, but I'm an I. That just goes to show you how unscientific MBTI is because it's not really predictable. But anyway, yeah, so just know that it's just for fun, but I am an ISFJ. The test though, basically it's like, do you like helping people? Yes. Do you like being helped? No. Here's your MBTI. You like helping, but you don't like being helped. Oh, it's describing me perfectly. Then do the next question. It's like, do you enjoy meeting new people? Yes. Do you like spending lots of time around other people? No. here's your MBTI. You like meeting new people, but you don't like spending lots of time around people. It's like, oh yeah, it's describing me to a T. That's pretty much what the test is. If you next time you look at an MBTI test, read the questions carefully and see the results are exactly what you already answered. It's not telling you anything you can't get out of the questions that it asks you. So yeah, anyway, yeah. It's my MBTI rant. And the only reason I'm ranting about it is because there is some toxic culture around it in Korea. But if you know that, I'm not going to say don't use it or anything because it's fun, but just temper your expectations with it in Korea. Okay, nowadays I'm ENFJ, someone says. But it is better than the previous system that Koreans used to use. They used to ask you, what is your blood type? 혈액형. 혈액형 is blood type. Nowadays, you're not going to hear anyone ask about blood type except for maybe older people, because it's obviously nonsense that you're this blood type. That means you're this. You're this blood type. You're this. But it's better than that. At least MBTI can kind of tell you: does this person like meeting new people? Do they like hanging around lots of people or being in smaller groups? Does this person prefer like thinking about things more or basing things on their feelings? It kind of gets you a little bit of that. So in that way, it's a little bit more useful, but it doesn't really tell you anything about the person beyond that. It's kind of like making a personality type based on a person's favorite food. Like I am a PHSK. Like I like pizza, hamburger, sushi, and Korean food. Like it's kind of like that. It's like, sure, it tells you a little bit about the person, but it doesn't really give you a good picture of who they are. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. Again, thank you everyone for who donated. Oh, whoa, Lidospile. What is that? Lidospile. What is that? What is that ruined currency? What is this? I have to convert it. Oh, Indian rupee. Thank you. That's like 50 cents. That's cool. I'm going to put your name up here. Sweet, thank you. Oh yeah, I'll write down blood type for you because I didn't, in case you want to know that. 혈액, I don't have space because of the 같이. I'm just going to write it over here. 혈액형, 혈액형. 형 means type. 혈액 is the blood. 혈 is the 한자 for blood. I believe 액 is the like liquid one. I'm not sure if it's the different 액, but anyway. 혈액형 is your blood type, and you can either be like A형, B형, O형, AB형. Okay, so numbers in general. So a phone number, 8675309, would be 867 A. They pronounce the dash as A. 359. 8675309. Yeah. 5309. Yeah, okay. Anyway, if you're saying a phone number, it's always South Korean numbers. If you're saying Sino-Korean numbers, if you're saying an address, it's always going to be Sino-Korean. A bus number is Sino-Korean. A room number is going to be used with Sino-Korean. Basically, you can look at all of these things. Oh, and there's one more. There's one more that I'll add on here, and then I'll give you the conclusion. Anytime you're counting time, with one exception, 시간 for hours. This is how you count 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or the current o'clock. So like 1 o'clock, 한시, or 1시간, 1 hour. So 시 for o'clock or 시간 for counting hours. These are done with pure Korean. But any other times, so like minutes, seconds, anything like that is going to be with Sino-Korean. So there are some exceptions, but anything that's physical, anything that has to do with something that's alive or anything you can touch, anything physical is going to be pure Korean. And anything that's not is going to be Sino-Korean. Now, if you apply this rule, you're going to be right in 99% of cases because there are only a couple exceptions to that. We already talked about one, your age. How old are you? How many years old are you? Either using Sae, which is pure Korean, or Se, which is Sino-Korean. So you have an option for both of those. And then hours. So o'clock and hours. These ones are also pure Korean. Besides that, anytime that what you're talking about is a physical object, you're going to use pure Korean. And anytime you're talking about a measurement for something, or just a number in general, or like a date or money, something that you're not physically counting, like an actual thing, then you're going to be using Sino-Korean. So if you're counting money, you use Sino-Korean, but let's say you're counting the actual pieces of paper, the bills, then you can know, oh, it's physical. So I'm going to be counting this with pure Korean. Let me give you another example of that. From my counters cheat sheet. Tongue is how you count flat objects. So this is specifically like paper, sheets of paper, but it also includes t-shirts because normally they would be flat and you'd pull one off and sell it. So that's the reason why it also includes t-shirts. It's from people who sell it. But paper is flat. So if you're counting pieces of paper, it's a flat object. So you use tongue. So if you wanted to get 5 sheets of paper, it would be 종이 5. Sorry, I messed that up how I wrote it because of the gatsi there. But anyway, you get the idea. 5장. 5 sheets of paper. But if you're counting pages in a book, what page is the book on? It's on page 3 or page 300, page 30. It's not a physical object, right? You're not counting the actual pages. You're counting where in the book is it. So it's a non-physical thing you're counting, and you would use Sino-Korean. You wouldn't use tongue because you're not counting a flat object. You would use peiji. Peiji means page, and you use Sino-Korean with this because it's not an actual sheet of paper. You're not counting something physical with it. You're counting just the page number, right? If you're counting a building, right? You're counting like a really big. Actually, let me think of a better comparison. Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. Lidospile. Oh, hey, Lidospile. Hold on, I have to convert again. Well, that's another $1. Thank you. So actually a little bit more. And Lidospile says, I've reached the 44th video for the beginners, and I will go through my notes made on each video and continue the later series. Awesome. 44. You're almost halfway done. Okay, let me just check the chat for a second. Kai says, don't hurt the magpie. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to hurt the bird. I was just moving it out of the way. Kai says, hypothetical money is South Korea. Yeah, well, if you're counting money, like how much do I owe you? Well, it's 1,001. You're not actually counting out 1,000 pieces of like coins, right? It's just an amount. You're just measuring it. $10, it's just measuring it. But if you talk about the actual bills of paper, like give me 한장, you can use tongue for counting money, right? If you have money, sorry, if you're holding money, you have a bunch of 천원. 천원 is the 1,001. That's like a little less than $1. But let's say you're going to buy something and you ask the person, 얼마예요? And they say, 세 장. 3 flat things. They're not saying 3,000원. Literally, they aren't. They're saying three of those. You know, three of those. I don't know what you'd call it. $3, right? 3 sheets is what they're saying. Or if you have 만원 or whatever, they might say, oh, you know, 두장, like that. That's what they're talking about. They're actually talking about the physical bills. So this isn't the normal way that you would reply and say how much it costs, but it's how much they could say if they know that you know what they're talking about. 한장, like that, they just mean one of them, right? It obviously means one of these. So just know that anytime you're counting with pure Korean, except for the couple exceptions I told you, like the hour, the o'clock, and then the age. If something, you hear something that uses pure Korean numbers, it is something physical that you're counting, something you could actually touch. And if it's not, then it's not. And it's going to be, most of the time, it's not because it's a measurement. So there are a lot of different measurements, you know, kilograms, liters, or whatever. Korean uses the metric system. But any of those are always going to be Sino-Korean. Okay, let me see if there are any other exceptions for here, because I do want to move on to... Okay, yeah, I think that's good for the numbers. I want to go up. I want to let you know about higher numbers, though. So we're kind of doing both. I want to let you know about higher numbers, and then I want to go back to counters for the rest of the lesson for today. So, some higher numbers. Does anyone know what's beyond pek? So pek is 100. What's beyond pek? Someone say it in the chat. We'll do this together. We can go pretty far. Everyday Korean says 페이지 쪽. Yeah, you can also use 쪽 for page. Literally, 쪽 means a side. But you could also use 쪽 to mean like a piece of something. I don't know if I have that on this. Actually, I think I do. It might be in here. They're actually more than you see, because in the notes for each one, there are additional counters for each of them. Okay, yeah. 1,000. 1,000. And then, yeah, man after that. Man for 10,000. What's beyond man? Well, I'll let you know. It's actually just 10만. So 10만, which is 100,000. What's beyond there? Well, 100만. 100만, literally 100, 10,000, which is a million. And then what's beyond 100만? Well, 1,000만, right? 1,000만 is 10 million. So what's beyond 1,000만? Well, you can't say what's beyond 1,000. Normally you'd say man, but you can't say man. There is no man. If you said man, they'll understand you and they'll laugh. But no, beyond 1,000만. I'm gonna erase this because this should be basic knowledge, but if you don't already know it, I do have other videos about numbers, and I'm also gonna be releasing a numbers cheat sheet coming up in a few weeks. Beyond that is ok. Now, ok is the first giant number that you're not going to need anything higher than it for pretty much any usage. Like, you're good with ok. Ok can do everything. Like, because you might think, well, what if I need a number higher than 100 million? No problem. 10억. That's, what's that, 1 billion? Well, actually 1,000. So that would be 1 billion, right? Well, what if I need more than a billion? What if I want to say, like, oh, this guy has like $400 billion? Well, you can go up from here really high. You have 백억. 백억 is 10 billion. And then you can go higher. 천억. All the way up to 100 billion. Now, when would you need more than this? You really don't for most things, because you can still go higher than 천억 if you use this. You can go using 천억 all the way up to 999 billion, 999 million, 999,999, right? Because you can also make it like 9,999억. Like, you can keep going like that. So you can make really high numbers. It's not that this number, 천억, can only take you up to 100 billion. It can take you all the way up to the next number, the next whole group. So all the way up to 1,000 billion minus 1, you can get there just with 천억. So why would you need more than that? You might want to say, well, how would I say trillion, right? How do I say trillion? Well, I would say first focus on billion if you're comfortable using ok first. But beyond there are some that you should know. I believe I give it, yeah, I do have this. The cheat sheet also goes higher. So I'm going to just give you what I already have on the cheat sheet. So how many zeros does ok have, actually, let's go back. The first big counter we have is man, which has 4 zeros, right? The next big counter we had is ok, which had oh wait, yeah, right? That's right, right? 8 zeros. So what would be the next counter? How many zeros would the next counter have? Well, 4, 8, the next one's gonna have 12. There is another counter. This. What even is this? Is trillion, right? Yeah, 1 trillion, billion, million. Yeah, this is a trillion. So there is a counter for a trillion, and that is 조. You do not need 조. Keep it in your mind. Write it down. Trillion. This can go beyond trillion. Remember, you can go 10조, 100조, 1000조, all the way up to the next counter, which is going to be 4 more zeros minus 1. So you don't need to know more than this. Like, when are you going to be counting numbers that's bigger than 999 trillion, 999 billion, 999 million, 999,999.999 repeating? You're not going to need anything bigger than this, but 조 has 12 zeros, 8 zeros, 4 zeros. So if you want to learn any counters beyond here, the only time you're ever going to see them or even hear of them is going to be like science, like math, physics, like there are this many combinations for this in the universe, like that sort of thing. You're not going to be talking about budgets of the world's economies with anything bigger than this. Like, even if you're talking about in terms of Zimbabwe dollars, the entire world's total budget is that, like, you're not going to even need bigger than this for that. Like, you're good. But there are numbers beyond there. I'll just tell you really quick because I've never used them before, but I've heard of it. Kyung. Kyung has 16 zeros, and I'm not even going to try to write it. And then the next one, which is the last one that you're ever going to hear and you're ever going to know anyone who's ever heard in their entire life, and that is hey. Now, if you say ok, everyone will instantly know what you're talking about. If you say 조, people might not actually know what you're talking about unless it's in context. Like if you see like the total deficit for this year to this year was this many dollars, then or Korean won, then yeah, you might see 조 used in that context. Same with kyung and hey, but these ones wouldn't be used for money. These would be used for like science. So if you're reading a book and it mentions kyung, it might even come with the hanja next to it so that you can know what they're talking about for these. But there is 16 and 20 zeros for kyung and hey. And if you're wondering, it does get much higher than that. In fact, I made a video once about numbers that are higher than this. They're never used except like theoretical physics or something like that. So kyung has 16 zeros. This essentially is 10 quadrillion. And then hey has 20 zeros. This would be 100 quintillion. I'm just writing these down. I have no clue what these numbers are in English, but that's what Google said when I was checking what number has 16 zeros and what number has 20 zeros. So there you go. A trillion, which we can understand this number. Beyond there though, since it's 4 zeros per unit, it's ridiculous. You would never need anything. So I would say if you're going to learn anything, write down 조, because you might see it in like news articles for advanced Korean talking about like economics. But ok is used for everything. You can get by. You're not going to live more than you can count with this. You're not going to have more cookies to count than with ok, this counter. Okay. No physics for me. Kai says, how would you express 6,310,000? Yeah, sure. We can talk about that as well. 1, 10, 100, 1000만, 10만, 100만, 1000만, ok. Yep. And then 조. Velula asks, where can you get my cheat sheets? Let me post them in the chat. But if you search Go Billy Korean cheat sheet or just Korean cheat sheet in Google, you should see them. I'm pretty sure I have the only detailed cheat sheets for Korean. But let me see if I have a link I can share. Cheat sheets. Okay. There are 6. I just posted a link to a video that gives you 6, but I actually made 2 more. So right now there are 8, and I have 4 more coming. There's one for numbers. There's one for counters. There's one for, I can't even remember. There's one for all the colors, which is pretty cool. And there's another one coming out too. I can't remember what the other one is, but there's another one. Is it not? Okay, it's supposed to share a link, but I think it's sleeping. Okay, Kai asked a question. I don't know why this is a. Is the chat frozen? Is it working okay? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay, good. Yes, thanks. Yeah, I think it's just the thing that I use to send links is sleeping for a bit. Oh yeah, that's right. The other one I have is telling the time, which is also coming out together. So that has like all these common words for how you tell the time, like how to say from and until, before, after, all that stuff is on here too. And then the colors one. So I'm really happy with how it came out. I got to put every single color, and I'm really happy about it. I mean, obviously not every single color, but like hundreds of color combinations on there. Okay, and so yeah, for some reason the cheat sheets never posted. Maybe they will later. I think that the bot that posts the link is broken, but if you just go to Google and type Korean cheat sheets and search by videos, you'll see my video right away. Okay. So let's talk about one thing. I want to talk about Kai's question. So to say a number, you first need to break it up into the units that you're going to be using in Korean. Now we put a comma after every 3 zeros, but in Korean, they do that too. But when you express it, you don't want to look at that. You want to look at the man, right? This is the shimman, pengman, chunman spots. So if we just took this number as is, like that, you could say it's man, right? Easy. But if you move one more, what do we have now? 31. So 31 man. And if we add this is the pek. So it's the yuk. Why did I do that twice? Yuk pek 31 man is what you get. The way you do it is you start from the first area, the first new counter. Sorry, not counter, major number counter. So in this case, like man, and after that would be ok, if you have larger numbers, cho, kyung, he, like we talked about. Most of the time, you only really need to look for man, unless you're talking about really big numbers. And if there was anything before here, you would look at that as well. So like, usually you'd be okay with counting smaller numbers within like under 1,000. But for larger numbers, you start with this spot. So in this case, how many man are there? There are, you can even look at it like this. How many man are there? 631. 631 man. And then whatever there. If you had something here, you can add that in. So like, let's say it wasn't 0000. Let's say it was like 4321, right? Then that's 4321. So 21, 321, 4321. I'm going one at a time. And then you add it together. So you put everything together. 631만 4,321. Like that. So look at the man unit when you're trying to figure out how to say it. In this case, it's 일만. Now, there is something you should also know. I think I have this in my cheat sheet as well. Let me check if I do mention this. Yeah, okay, so one more thing you should know. So if you, 10, 100, 1000, of course, if you're saying just 10, you just say 10, right? If you're saying 100, you just say 100. If you're saying 1,000, you just say 1000. And if you're saying 10,000, you just say man. But these are exceptions. You don't need to say the 1 if it's just 10, right? You don't say 10, 100, 1000, 1,000,000. But if there's a number before that, you do for man. So normally if you just have 10,000, you just say man. But in our case, we had 31, right? It wasn't 30만, right? 30만 would be 30만, so that would be 300,000. But what if the number is 31? You have to say 31만, obviously. But if you don't have that, you don't need to say 1만. You could, but you don't have to. It's just man. So for these 4 units, you don't need to say 1 at the beginning of them. You can for man, but usually don't. But for ok, you do. For ok, for any other number, if you're actually going to use kyung or chu or kyung or he, you would also use it as well. So if your number is ok, you actually would say it as 1억, 1억. Even though it's 1, even if you're just counting the number ok by itself for 100 million, for 100 million, you still would say it as 1억. So just keep that in mind, that even though you don't add 1 before the numbers when it's these, when it's this one, you do. Okay, I want to go over some more counters. We haven't done enough counters today. 631만. Yeah. Korean and Chinese counts in multiples of 10,000. Yeah, and that Sino-Korean system literally is China's system. That's what Sino means China. So it's the Chinese numbers verbatim imported right into Korean. So if they sound like, it works the same way as Chinese does. I don't know what they use for the words for beyond like 10,000 and that, but it's going to be the same thing that they use. Kai says, for example, would 5 million, that would be, okay, so yeah, you would start with the man. So what's the man? It's 3만 is what you're going to get. Yeah, so 35,212, you have that correct. Let me check the rest. So that's 553, yeah, you got it right, Kai. Yeah, exactly. So you start whatever number you have, you look at the man place, and then you start from there, and then go forward and backward like that. Now, Koreans don't have to do this because this is how they learned it growing up. But for us from languages where we use it grouped into 3s, this is kind of how we have to think of it. So let's do some more counters. So we only did the 4 basic ones, but there are a few more. One I want to talk about first is bun. Then I want to talk about kwon, tang, which we just talked about a little bit. And then let's do charu. So bun has the same meaning as myung. It means people, but bun is honorific. Oh, and all of these are with pure Korean numbers. Like I'll say, it's something you're counting physical, a person, a book, flat things, and then this is going to be long, thin things. All of these are physical items. You count them with pure Korean numbers. So bun has the same meaning as myung. So if you're talking about people, like how many people, you could say 3 people, 세 명, or you can say 3 people, 세 분. Does anyone know the difference? The same meaning, but bun is for honorific speech. So it means you are putting the person above yourself. You're being extra respectful when you're talking about them. So you would never say, if you're talking about your group of people, like if you come in as a group and the waiter asks you, 몇 분이세요? How many people is it? Like how many people are in your group? You would never say, 세 분요, because that's putting yourself, you're in that group, that's putting yourself up. It's like using honorifics about yourself. You wouldn't. You would say, 세 명, 세 명요. And then the waiter, to be respectful, would refer to your group as 분 for how many people that you have. In fact, you probably should just learn that expression. When you walk into a Korean restaurant, even if you're by yourself, 몇 분이세요? 몇 is how many, and you can use it before a counter. Though if you want to get really specific, 몇 also has this, can also be used in the exact same way to mean a few. So if you're using it as a question, it's how many. If you use it and it's not a question, it means a few, a few. So you could say, like, I'm not going to give you an example of that because it's going to be a bad dad joke. But if someone asks you like, oh, 몇 개, or hey, 몇 개 있어요? How many is it? Yeah, there's a few. Anyway, 몇 분이세요? So how many people? So 분 is, again, it's used for other people, not yourself. You don't count yourself using 분, but you could count other people. I recommend counting other people using 분, unless they're like your really close friend. Strangers or anyone you're not really close with, use 분 to count them, not 명. Myung is just very straightforward. Doesn't show any extra politeness or extra respect. So that's what 분. Next is kwon. Kwon is for books. Again, it's physical. It's an actual thing you can touch. So you're going to count it with pure Korean numbers, as well as tang, which is pages or sheets of things. It's flat things, as I talked about. And then there's a new one on this list also. That's charu. Charu is long and thin things. So that's going to be specifically like pencils. That's going to be the most common thing you're going to use this for, pencils or pens. But there are some other long and thin things that you can use to count with charu, like a shovel. You can count shovels with charu. If it's something that's long and thin, you can technically count it with charu if you want. But most of the time, it's just going to be like pens and pencils. There is another word, though, that you can also use to count with charu. And that is a sack of something. Why? I'm not really sure. Maybe because sacks were like kind of long, like a tube, like a sock originally. So they're also kind of long and thin, but they don't have to be that anymore. If you're counting a sack of potatoes, a sack of anything, you can also use charu. So I want to give you some examples before I just flood you with a bunch of counters. I'm going to give you some example sentences, but I just wanted to give you a few to start with. Oh, Lidospile asks, will this video be recorded? Yeah, all my live streams are available after the fact. Kai says, pronounce the Korean number, but write the standard, the Arabic numeral. Correct. Yeah, you just write the number with regular numbers. Only when you read it do you have to pronounce it a certain way with one of the other number systems. Okay, so let me give you some examples. This got you. I'm trying not to hit it. It's just so close to where I'm writing. Let's see. Let's do this. Should I rewrite this one? Okay, I have 2 sentences I want you to fill in the blanks with a counter. We've only done like 8 counters, so it's going to be one of those 8. 가방 2 something 샀어요. So I bought 2 bags. So what counter would we use to count bags? If you just say 가방 둘 샀어요, it's kind of weird. They're like 2 what? So you have to use a counter for that. 고양이 is a cat. 한 를 키워요. 키우다 is to raise, to have. So In English, we say I have a cat. In Korean, they say I raise a cat. You wouldn't say, I mean, you could say there is a cat, I have a cat, but they usually use 키우다 as the verb for that, to have a cat, to have a pet. So what counters could we use in here? Yeah, the penguin raptor. That's right. Fluffy asks, not fasting? Is there something going on? I'm eating pie. Oh. Banana cream pie from Marie Callender. Okay. Okay, so I'll talk about that. 화이팅 and 파이팅 in a second. Okay, 가방 두 개. Bags don't have a separate counter. You can just use thing. Okay. 고양이 한 마리를 키워요. So I have one cat. I bought 2 bags. This is really specific. Korean has a lot of Conglish words that came into Korean through Japanese. So, actually, let me start with another example before I start with this one. The word for message in Korean is 메시지. But about 30 years ago, this was the one. 메시지 was what most people said. This came though from the Japanese word 메시지 for message. And then Korean, for a very good reason, Korea has a lot of anti-Japanese sentiment. Specifically, not just for the government, but like for the language as well, because of the history. So a lot of Koreans feel like we should not use as many Japanese words. Like where we can, we should try to replace the Japanese words that are in Korean with different versions that are maybe more accurate, but really just not Japanese, I think. So this is my opinion. There might be a better reason for it, but it kind of feels like, let's just make a word that's not that Japanese word that still is the same word that still came from English, but is our own version of it. So now you'll hear 메시지 used a lot. And there are a lot of words like this. Sausage is another one. So I know both and I'll hear both, but this one's the more correct one nowadays. So 메시지 is the correct one. 메시지 is the older one, but you'll still see it. Especially older people still use it all the time because that was the word. And most of the time, there are a lot of these words. Most of the time, that's fine because people don't really care that much. You start teaching a new word and they say, okay, that's fine, cool. They start using it. Here's another example. 화이팅 and 파이팅. Now, we don't actually know where 화이팅 came from because there is no word fighting in Japanese. They do have a shout where they say fight, 화이토, 화이토, whatever in Japanese. You can say 화이토 or 파이토. Actually, that's right. They do have the F sound. My Korean's leaking into my Japanese. 파이토, you can say in Japanese, like an older expression for like, let's go. Same thing as 화이팅. So maybe this word in Korean, 화이팅, came from the Japanese expression 파이토. Maybe. There's another theory that says, oh no, it came from a different expression like fighting spirit that was translated into Korean. Cool. Either way, there are many people who kind of feel like this is one of those words, like maybe this is one of those remnants, because it could be. it came up around the same time. It could be that it was like a version of faito from Japanese. So just in case it is because of this hwa sound, because Korean doesn't have an F. So maybe it came from Japanese. So just in case, let's change it to paiting. So paiting didn't exist. Like, I don't want to be wrong here, so I'm going to say 30 years ago, but I feel like it was actually like 10 years ago or 15 years ago. This word didn't really exist. But now when you search for a word, it'll show you paiting is the wrong one, paiting is the correct one. So technically, this is what it should be right now. People don't say this. People still say paiting, young people and old people. So just be aware, paiting is supposed to be the correct one, but this one's still used much more often. So much that I don't want to say I never see it. I've seen it a lot from Korean teachers like myself. I don't see too many Koreans using paiting though nowadays, but you'll see both. Just know that this is the more common one. So I don't know if this is going to change. Are they going to is this eventually going to become more popular? But people still mostly use paiting. So I would be aware of both of these. I still use paiting, but that's because that's what I learned when I first started. But I don't know, maybe in the future it'll change and paiting will be more popular, but still paiting's the dominant one. Yeah, an everyday Korean gives a good thing. When speaking, paiting, when writing, paiting. I mean, if you're doing a test, if you're trying to have like the most accurate Korean, just use paiting because they're going to say paiting is wrong, right? There are a lot of rules in Korean that even if people don't use them, they're still considered rules and you should know them to have more accurate Korean, at least for your tests. But know the wrong one as well, because you'll hear that as well. So there's a lot of stuff like that in Korean. There's a lot of stuff like that in English too. Like know how people misuse there, and your, right? Even though you should use the correct ones, know that people don't always do that. All right. Kenneth says, I like paiting better, but Chrome tries to autocorrect it to paiting. Yeah, it wasn't like that in the past. I noticed this 10 years ago. No, about 12, 13 years ago when Word 2013 started automatically correcting paiting to paiting. And it never corrects anything. It never autocorrects anything, but it'll correct that. So I'm wondering if this is it might be one of those things where they're pushing it, like, hey, don't say paiting. It may have come from our, the really bad history with Japan. So let's not use it, but it feels very forced. Like, don't use this kind of thing from Microsoft Word. And then Chrome also started doing that too. So I'm kind of getting the feeling that it is one of those things, but I mean, I don't really care that much as long as no one says I can't use it. Okay. Next, we have a few more. That's a topic I would never make a video about because it's very, very niche. Hopefully that didn't bore you. If it did, I'm sorry. Okay. 알, 통, 번, and 체. 알 is for very small and round things like pills, grapes, vitamins, eggs. 알. In fact, 알 is the word you would use for like fish eggs. Those are used with 알 as well. You call them 알. 통. I kind of ran out of space there. I'm wondering if everyday Korean, do you have an opinion on that? Have you heard of what I'm talking about? 통 is for communications. So that will be an email, a letter, or a phone call. You can count them. I got 3 calls today. 전화 3통 받았어요. 통 for communication. So emails, letters, calls, any sort of attempt at communication is counted with 통. You wouldn't say 개 because it's not a physical thing. You wouldn't say like 한 개, 전화 한 개. It doesn't really make sense. It sounds like one phone. But 한 통. So like, oh, today I didn't even get one phone call. 오늘 한 통도 안 왔어요. 한 통, one communication. Or 편지, 통, or email, 한 통, or whatever. There is another counter though, 통, which you might want to know. It's very specific, and that's for watermelon. Now, this is not the same counter. This comes from a different word. So it's not the same counter technically, but it is the same word at the end of the day. I mean, it's the same spelling, the same pronunciation at the end of the day. Watermelons are also counted using 통. So 수박 한 통, 수박 열 통. And that's pretty common. If you're talking about watermelons, you could just say K. If you don't know, they're not going to fault you for it. And they'll all, if you bought 3 watermelons, 수박 3개 샀어요. They're all going to know what you're talking about. It's fine. But if you want to be more correct, it's 통 for watermelon as well. So let me go to the next one. 번 is for times, as in how many times you've done something. But there are actually 2 번 counters. Notice though that 번 is not a physical object. It's not like something you can physically touch. It's one of those exceptions. It is just how many times you did it. 한 번, 두 번, 세 번. Like I studied today 3 times. 오늘 3번 공부했어요. 3번, 4번, 10번, whatever. 번 for times. But there's another counter, 번. So normally this uses pure Korean, but there's another counter 번 that uses Sino-Korean numbers and has a different meaning. That is for a number of things. What do I mean by that? Like a bus number. Something number, whatever. And then whatever the number goes here, something number 3 or whatever. Anything like that is numbered with 번. So the way you do it is you say number, 번, thing. So if you want to talk about the number 5 bus, there wouldn't really be 5, but let's just say the number 500 bus. 500번 버스. That's how you talk about something that has a number attached to it. You can also count with Sino-Korean numbers and 번. But do know that if you're talking about how many times did you do something, like once, twice, 3 times, that is with pure Korean numbers, and that is also 번. So you might see 번 used with Sino-Korean and think, wait, isn't that supposed to be times? No, if it's used with Sino-Korean numbers, it means it's the number of something, which is number, 번, and then the name of the thing, if you want to include it. Clay Bo says, why are watermelons counted differently? It's probably some historic reason that they used to count them with a different counter. There are a lot of interesting ways to count produce and things that you buy at the market that I'm not going to be going into, because those ones will all have like there are so many different words for that. Like words for like 10 eggs at once, buying 2 mackerel fish, 100 squid. Like, you know, there's all these different, how many sheets of kim do you want? There are lots of different counters for amounts of produce that you would buy, but that's a huge topic. I'm just doing watermelon because it's fairly common, but there are like, maybe you can learn eggs. This is not on the counter worksheet, but I think it's worth teaching you. I'll teach you one more. So 줄 is a line. Literally, 줄 is just a word that means a line. If you talk about 줄 for counting something, it means, it either means one line of something that's sold as a line, like kimbap. Kimbap is sold as a line. So you'd say kimbap 2줄, kimbap 1줄, like that. But if you're talking about eggs, then it's a line of eggs, which is a traditional way to sell 10 eggs together. So if you're buying, like if you go to the store, they're not going to have this, but if you go to like an outdoor market, you might see it. There might be a bunch of eggs hanging on a string. 10 of those, 10 eggs is called a 줄. So everyone knows how much kimbap you get when you order 1 줄 of kimbap, but that's, anyway, long things. But This isn't so useful. Chur for eggs isn't so useful. Chur for kimbap though I think is fairly useful because that's how you order it. But pan is how you count a tray of eggs. It's 30 eggs. 계란 한 판, 두 판. So you can say like 한 판에 만 원, like it's 10,000 won per. A is per, so you can say like 한 판에 30불, like $30 per one pan of eggs. So it means 30 eggs. Pan though has a few meanings. I don't know if we get into all of them, but I'll give you one more of them. It's also a pizza pie. So that's how you count pies, is with pan. 피자 두 판을 먹었어요. I ate two trays, two whole things of pizza. You can also count with pan. But yeah, 30 is for 30 eggs is for pan also. And because it's the number 30, people also will jokingly refer to people's age once they hit 30 as saying that they are a 계란 한 판. Is it 계란 한 판이네? Like you can tease someone like, hey, you're now it's kind of like saying, hey, you're now a, you know, I don't know what we'd say. Because we don't really have that. I guess dozen, a baker's dozen would be 13. Yeah, my kid's a baker's dozen now. Like, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense too much in English, but it's the same idea. You can tease someone who's turning 30 and say that they're 30 by using 한 판. Literally, they're 30 eggs now. In English, the only large unit we would have for something would be a gross, which is 144. But I've never known anyone to live to 144. But I think if they did, you probably don't want to be teasing them because they might laugh and die. Like, so 30 though is pretty common. Oh, hey, Flo. Flo, thank you. I promise I will correctly write down your donation here as I'll like reduce it. Thank you, Flo Purdy. Bottom of the hour retirement bonus. I appreciate it. Flo Purdy has been the only one to care about my retirement so far. I have $30 for retirement. I think it's going to be a good retirement life. 35 bucks. I don't know what I'll be able to buy with it. Maybe I'll get a nice meal. Thank you, Flo. Oh, hey, Lynn. Hey, how's it going? Line, like in a row. Yeah, like anything in a row. Everyday Korean is saying 2 rolls of kimbap. Yeah. A tray of eggs. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a tray of eggs. I think we'd call it just a pack of eggs, but we don't sell them in 30. In US, eggs are sold by the dozen. So you can buy 2 dozen or 3 dozen or 4 dozen, right? But you wouldn't really buy 30. It's just a random number because they don't sell the packs that go in that size. The only biggest one you could get would be a gross. Like if you bought like a big stack of 144 eggs. I've never bought that before, but I suppose if you were having like some crazy party and you needed to make omelets for everyone, you'd probably buy a gross. Okay. And then the next one is really common, and that is 태. 태 is used for counting houses or buildings. So any house, any building, those are counted with 태. Why would you ever use that? You might want to count a house. It's like, yeah, go down 2 houses or whatever. There are 3 houses in this area. There are 2 buildings over there. Or that one building, it's in that one building. Like you can use 태 like that. So house or a building. You would not use K for that. Okay, I'm going to check the chat for a second. Lady Natbook says, toward your 401k. That's right. If I invest now, $35 invested now, compounded over 30 years until I retire, might be like $100. Yeah. No, maybe more than that, actually. Could be like 200. That's a really big donation. Thank you. Yeah, I need to remember 계란 한 판 for anyone turning 30. Lynn says, when I was in Korea in February, eggs were $4 for 30. Eggs are not that bad in Korea, though, right now. It's just the US. If you go to Korea right now, eggs are not that bad. I mean, they're always kind of expensive, but that's just because produce is more expensive in Korea than it is in the US. But eggs are not, ask your Korean friends, they're not that bad right now. Yeah, 태 with 건물. In fact, I had gotten, oh, maybe I already told this story, but I got It was like a discount store and they had expired eggs, but like eggs expiring doesn't really mean much because the best buy date on eggs is kind of a suggestion. Eggs don't expire like dairy products do, where you don't want to drink milk more than like a day or two after it expires because it's going to go bad really quick. Eggs are not like that. They're usually good for another 2 or 3 weeks after. But we bought a bunch of them really because they were like expired. So they were like really cheap and then froze them. So we've got a bunch of eggs in our freezer right now. Just a little flex. I got eggs in my freezer. Okay. Yeah, a flat. Okay. So let me give you a couple examples. Go back up there. Let's see. Let's do that. Let's do another sentence. Okay, let's do these 2 sentences. Fill in the blanks. So we have 저는 집이 세 있어요. So I have 3 houses. What counter would we put here? And then 계란을 세 whatever 먹었어요. So I ate 3 eggs. Do not say pun. God, don't say you ate 3 the 90 eggs. I know you can't. I've tried to eat a lot of eggs before. I can eat 6 eggs if it's in matzo brei. I can do it. Like scrambled eggs, I can eat 6 eggs, no problem. I could probably force myself to eat a dozen eggs in one sitting if I was really hungry. You're not going to eat 3 pun of eggs. So what's the right answer? Eggs are the retirement funds. Yes. Although I don't think my eggs are going to be good in the freezer 30 years from now. I'd give them like a few weeks, maybe a few months at most. I'm not going to keep them in the freezer forever because, you know, stuff does eventually kind of go bad. Even if it won't hurt you, it can taste bad if you leave it in the freezer too long. That would be the last thing you ever ate. Yeah. TV. Okay, I'm not going to read it out loud, but I want you to do this yourself. 토보다 글씨를 예쁘게 Oh, really? I have horrible handwriting. I think my handwriting's not very nice. But I do know the heksun. I do know the stroke order, so that helps. So even though I'm not writing nicely, I know the stroke order, so it looks like I do. Really good. Okay. For anyone wondering why I have pie, read the title of the stream. I'm sure they age like wine. Oh no. Don't you take them out of the shells? Yeah, if you want to freeze eggs, what you do is you actually separate them. And you don't have to separate them. You can keep them all together, but if you don't separate it, then what are you going to do with a frozen egg that has the yolk and the egg white in it? There's really nothing you can do with it other than to put it into a pot of boiling water when you're making ramen and hope that it cooks evenly. It won't. So what you do is you crack the eggs and you separate them, the yolk and the whites, and you put them into ice cube trays. So we put the egg whites in one ice cube tray and the egg yolks in another, and you freeze them separately. That way you can use them for cooking because you just defrost as many as you need, or you can pop them out. If you're making ramen, you can still add one of each to make, to add an egg into your ramen. Or if you want to cook, you can get the egg whites out or the yolks out to make something like that. So that's more useful. But yeah, definitely do not freeze them in the shell. You will never get the shell off. That would be disgusting. And then you're just going to like give up. And then you let it defrost in the shell, which is going to take like a week because it's just a rock, like an ice ball of, you know, that's sealed inside of a shell. It's never going to melt. By the time it melts, it's now been sitting in your fridge after having been frozen. Now it's sitting in your fridge for like a week. It's not the best thing to do. So don't do that. 선생님, 다음에 킥 드실 때 젓가락으로 드셔보세요. Oh, yeah. Great idea. Okay, so 저는 집이 세 채. Remember, 채 is used for buildings or houses. 계란을 세 알. Again, a round, small thing. If you're taking medicine, you also call those 알 because they're very small. If you're having like a small apple, you can call it an 알 as well. You could also use apple with K. It's kind of like either or. I'm not really sure which one's better. They both sound fine. Okay. There aren't like super strict rules for which objects some of these work with. I'm not going to get through all of these, but I'm trying to go through a bunch of them. Okay, 곳 is for places. How many places did you go to? You actually have two options for this though. You could use 곳 for a place, or you could use 군데. So 군데 also means a place. 한 군데, 한 곳, 두 곳, 두 군데. They're both fine. I feel like 군데 is going to be a little bit more common, a little bit more useful to you, but they're both used. So if you're counting a place, it's 곳 or 군데. 대 is a big one. This one is any vehicle or machine. Like any big appliance, any machine, any vehicle. This can be a car. This can be a bicycle, a truck, a computer. It's also used for instruments. So yeah, vehicle or a machine or an instrument, computer, electronic, appliance, anything like that is counted with 대. Annie Walsh says, where's the line between a big and small apple? I mean, you can use it for any apple. It's just that you can also use K for any apple. So K is a hit. Yeah, Hyundai. That is true, but it's a little different counter, but yeah, that works. Kai says, that's definitely what my dumb self thought you did. Eggs in the shells in the freezer. That would be a terrible idea. But it's actually what I thought you're supposed to do before my wife's like, no. So I didn't know that you could freeze eggs until my wife mentioned that. And then I searched it and found out you can, and I found out how to do it. And then I told her how to do it, but I didn't really know either. I had frozen milk before, which was horrible. Because I used to work at Baskin-Robbins, and I remember one time we had an extra gallon of milk that was accidentally put in the freezer, and it was like rock hard and frozen, and we still needed to use it. So I think the manager took it out of the freezer and put it in the fridge overnight, I think it was in the fridge, like maybe a few days in the fridge, and it finally defrosted enough, but it was like gross, like all the cream separated from the water. It was not good. So anyway, don't freeze milk. If you need milk and you need to save it for like food storage, get powdered milk. Powdered milk in a tin can never expires. You can ignore that expiration date. It's good forever. And it's not too expensive. It's good for a rainy day. Or you can get hyper pasteurized milk or ultra pasteurized milk. They sell it at the dollar store as well as Walmart or anywhere like that. And that has an expiration date usually like 6 months late. And you can drink it like a year after the expiration date and it's not going to hurt you and it'll taste mostly fine. So that's another option if you want something. Don't freeze milk though. Don't do it. Okay. Next we have 병. Oh, there's one more I need to tell you about. So 배 means a vehicle, but there's another one you can use for some vehicles. That's 척. 척 is for boat. So if you have one boat, you can have 한 척, 배 한 척, or you can have 배 한 대. But typically boats are counted with 척. So if you want to count a boat, you have to use 척. Okay, next one is 병, which is just a regular word for bottle. If you want to talk about cups, you can use either 잔 or cup. Now, cup is typically also used for measurement. So you could use it for like, I'm putting a cup of something in a recipe, but it also just means a cup. So 잔 or cup both mean a cup. 병 is a bottle. 접시 is a plate. But you could also use 그릇 for a plate or for a bowl. I'll leave this up for a second so you can write it down. So 그릇 means plate or bowl. 접시 only means plate. 병 is bottle. 잔 or cup both mean cup. Okay, I'll give you a sentence after. Kai says, happy 20th birthday. I'm not turning 20. I did 18 years ago. Yeah. Kai, is it your birthday this Wednesday? Kai, is it your birthday? Really? This week? You're born in March? Really? Hold on. Wednesday, okay. One of my friends' birthday is also this week, but I think it's on Friday. Yeah, happy birthday. 생일 축하합니다. 생일 축하합니다. 사랑하는 카이. 생일 축하합니다. And many more on Channel 4. And Scooby-Doo on Channel 2. Although Scooby-Doo was never on Channel 2. That was on Cartoon Network. Okay. So let me give you a sentence. Okay, so I will buy 2 trucks and let's see what else. So I will buy two trucks, and I went, 다녀오다 is to go somewhere. I know I kind of cut off, to go somewhere and come back. So I will go to 3 marts, which is a market. So I went to 3 markets. What counter would we use for these? Fisho says, I'm turning 18. Yoon says, I'll be 22. Nice. We aren't friends? I mean, technically, 친구 in Korea is only someone who is the same Korean age as you. Someone who's born the same year as you, I should say. So if you were born in 86, then we can be 친구. Otherwise, they don't call you 친구 if you're close. 친구 is just same age. Now, there is an exception. If you are a non-Korean, you can tell your friend that they're 친구. It's like, hey, 친구, 그 친구. But 친구 is usually used to refer to just someone who is the same birth year as you. So you're actually not 친구 with your friends who are older than you or younger than you, technically. You would be their 형, 오빠, 누나, 언니, like that. And they would be your 동생, or you would be their 동생, if you're actually like really close friends. So yeah, it's not possible for us to be friends unless you were born in 86. I'm sorry. It's not me. I mean, it's not you, it's me. It's Korea. I'll blame Korea. Okay. Kitty Mommy says 병 can also refer to a big jar. Well, if you're talking about 유리병, then that's specifically a glass bottle. But there is also glass 통, so you could use it that too. Because a 통 is, in that case, that's not the counter 통, that's the, I mean, you can use it as a counter, but that's the literal word 통. Like a barrel, like a big container. But it doesn't have to be made out of plastic for that. Keith says, I saw a video about 친구. It seemed to be drifting more toward Western ideas. It depends on the person, but it's not at a place where I would go and teach you that it's okay to use 친구 to friends who are older than you. There are a lot of people who it would rub the wrong way if you just started speaking to them like a 친구 and referring to them that way, because they're so used to the Korean style. But you can kind of get away with it being a non-Korean. You can get away with different sort of cultural expectations for that. They'll treat you a different way. They'll talk to you a different way because it's less stressful. It's more loose, and they know that that's your culture. So you can get some different experiences when you're not a native Korean, but among Koreans, you're not going to see that changing quite. Okay, so for these sentences, truck 2대, again, 대 is for vehicle, appliance, machine, instrument, like that. And then 마트 세, you could either have 곳 or you can have 군데. I'm just going to write 군데. So 3 places. So I went to 3 markets. You can't just say 마트 세 다녀왔어요. It doesn't make any sense. You could say, technically you could say 세 마트 다녀왔어요, but it's kind of like, I went to the 3 market. It might be like confusing. Like, is that the name of it? 세마트? It's called 세마트? So make it clear you're talking about 3 places, 3 different markets. Then you'd want to use a counter. 세 군데 다녀왔어요. I don't know. Am I going to get through this whole counters cheat sheet? It's already almost 4. Yeah, sure. Let's keep going. Okay. Oops. I can do sang next. Sang and kuru. Okay. 벌 is for clothes. So if you're talking about like an outfit, a suit, a dress, pair of pants, that's all 벌. A lot of stuff you can count with that. 벌. You don't say 한 개, 두 개. Like you wouldn't say 바지 두 개 샀어요. I bought 2 pants. You would say 바지 두 벌. You could say. Okay, 켤레 is for clothing pairs. Now this doesn't count for pairs of pants because we say a pair of pants because of the word pantaloons in English. It's not actually a pair, you're buying one, right? When you buy pants, you're not buying a pair of pants, literally, you're buying one. So this isn't, pants are not counted with 켤레. This is things that are actually separate that are sold as a pair. So that'll be socks and shoes. Is there anything else you can think of that's sold as a pair besides socks and shoes? There's one more thing. Kai says, any 98ers in here that can be my 친구? Yeah, South Park, just like South Park, we're blaming Korea for this. Yeah, gloves. Yeah, that's it. Socks, shoes, gloves. The end. So those 3 things you can count using 켤레. But if you're buying socks, you buy them in pairs, right? So you could negotiate, hey, let me get 3 pairs or 10 pairs or whatever. Sometimes I do that. Like when I go to the market, you can barter. Is that the right word? You can haggle with the people selling stuff. So if they say, oh, socks are, each pair is 2,000원, which is really expensive. They say 2,000원, but if you buy 5 of them, they're only 1,500원 each or something. And I can say, 10켤레를 사면은 1,000원씩으로 팔리시나요? Are they sold at like 1,000 won if I buy like 10 pairs or something? or 파시겠어요? Would you sell them to me at 1,000 each if I buy 10 pairs? You can kind of, you know, haggle with them a bit. So that's that. 상 is for pairs as well. But while 결례 is specifically for clothing pairs, 상 is for any sort of pair. So this will be pairs of chopsticks, pairs of like a couple, like things that are couples, pairs of, wait a minute, clothing is also pair. You can also use 상 for the same stuff you can use for 결례, because this is just a general word for anything that's in a pair. So you can also use 상 for that too. So it also counts as 결례. So if you're getting chopsticks, or you're getting like, you know, maybe there's a pair of butterflies or something like that, anything like that is 상. And last but not least here is 그루, which is, this is easy to remember because you remember the Marvel character Groot? I am Groot. So 그루 is a tree. That's how you count trees. Although it technically is a long and thin thing, you can think of it like that, there's a specific counter for that type of long and thin thing for a tree. So 그루. Again, very easy to remember, but it doesn't have to be just a tree with leaves. It also counts for cactuses, you know, any kind of tree, apple tree, whatever is 그루. Billy just cursed in Groot. Yeah, Sherry, you can use it for any sort of pair. Although when you buy glasses, you're not buying a pair of glasses. You're actually just buying. Okay, so I should also clarify, just like it doesn't work for pair of pants, because you're actually just buying one. 안경 are also not a pair. You're buying, it's technically you are buying the glasses, but you never buy the glasses as pieces of glass. You always buy the glasses as one, so it's not a pair. And Ambi asks, yes, it is the same one in the word for twins, 쌍둥이. It's also the same one in like 쌍, 기역, or 시옷, or whatever, the double consonants. It literally is just a pair. That's what it means. So it's a very general word for any sort of pair, including clothing pairs. Valeria says, can we use 결례 for 잠옷 if you have a pair of them, but you don't have a pair? Like I said, it's not the word pair in English where we say pair of pants, pair of sunglasses, pair of pajamas. No, it's not that pair. It's the actual two of them. Two of them pairs, not the word pair, but actually two. So no, not for 잠옷, not for your pajamas, because that's not a pair of them. Now, if you bought a package of pajamas that had two pajamas in it, then I guess so, but you're really only going to hear 결례 used with those three that I mentioned: socks, shoes, and gloves. Yeah, and as Everyday Korean with Yushin says, 잠옷 counter is 벌, because it's clothes. But yeah, 결례 is specifically just for those three. I mean, if you want to get really technical, people are going to be like, yeah, but we don't say that. So, I mean, don't think of these as like really, really strict rules, more of like as guidelines, like this is what it feels like. When you use 결례, they think socks, shoes, and gloves. That's the end. Technically, though, what it is, it's pairs of clothing. So it's two things of clothing, but there really aren't that many options. So yeah, and you know, you could think of taru as like a long and thin thing. So shouldn't it include trees? Technically, but no one uses it that way, so no. Okay, let's do a couple examples. Let's see. Don't want to do that. Okay, here we go. Okay. 2 sentences. 장갑 한 샀어요. So I bought 1 glove. Or 드레스 5 있어요. I have 5 dresses. How would you count that? Now, note that t-shirts would be counted with 장, but you could also count it with 벌 because it's a clothing item. So it's up to you. But I usually count t-shirts with 장 because they can be counted with 장 anyway because it's a flat object. So there is a lot of overlap with some of these counters. So like a set, yeah, a set of clothes, but it's not a set because you're not buying like the whole set. It's just a set as in 2. So a pair is in 2 or a set is in 2. Just know the number 2. Or just even learn it as socks, shoes, and gloves, and you're going to be better off because that's literally all it's used for. I couldn't think of any other thing it's used for. Dosages of herbal traditional medicine. Yeah, that's right. 세제. Yeah. 첩 is a pack of herbal traditional medicine. That's right. 한약 is counted in 첩. Funnily enough, I have that word in my Anki deck. Never once used it. I think I saw it in a game when the character buys like some traditional Chinese medicine or traditional Korean medicine, and they get a pack of it and they call it with 첩. For counting those. That's it. Kai says, I've seen some people making fun of judging people whose voice changes when switching languages. Is voice changing not normal or expected, you're asking? This is known as code switching. And it's a normal phenomenon of not just speaking other languages, but what we do normally in our day-to-day lives. If you don't believe me, how do you talk to your parents versus how do you talk to your siblings versus how do you talk to your boyfriend or girlfriend versus how do you talk to their parents? Do you talk the exact same way to your boss as how you talk to your friends? No, you're changing how you speak, the words you use, the speed, everything, not just your behavior, but the words you use and your tone, how clear you speak, it all changes. So that's a normal thing that we do. When you speak a totally different language with people who have a different culture, yes, your voice is going to change. Your voice is going to change a lot, and it'll change a lot because you're adapting a different personality to match that culture. You're not really going to not change your voice very much. I mean, you might be able to adapt your personality to an extent that you speak kind of similar in both languages because you're acting the same way in both cultures. But usually there's going to be a bit of a difference just because there are different things you can say, different ways to say something in Korean than you would in English. Like you might prefer to say, I think, or it might be, or don't you think it could be in Korean more than you would in English? And that results in a different tone of voice. You might speak faster in Korean or slower in Korean. And I'm going to be making a video about that probably this summer when I go to Korea. I don't know who I'll be filming it with. I'll find another Korean teacher I can talk with. But it's an interesting topic about changing your voice when you speak in Korean. I also do it too. Everyone I know who speaks Korean does it. 차림 is outfit. That's right. Yeah, it's not a counter, but it's just your 옷차림 is just your outfit, your physical appearance with what you're wearing. I mean, it's actually, for me, it's hard not to do it when I speak in a different language. Like when I'm in Korea and I visit my friends who speak a different way, I'm not doing this on purpose, but I subconsciously start talking kind of like them. I don't know why. Like I met my friend from Daegu. I have a couple friends in Daegu, but one of my friends in Daegu has the most classic Daegu dialect I've ever heard. Like really real Daegu dialect. And it's awesome, but I can't help myself but talk a little bit like that whenever I meet them because it's like, I don't know. It just naturally happens. when I'm in Busan. Also, I'll go back to how I used to speak in Korean when I was first living there, because that's what I heard all the time. It sounds really easy to understand for me. So yeah. So, 장갑 한 켤레, a pair of gloves, and 드레스 5벌. Remember, for clothing. Okay, we're at 4 o'clock. Do you guys want to continue? I have like 10 more. Do you want to continue, or should we hold on to this for another lesson? I don't want the chat to be like, or the live stream to be like disgustingly long, although it is kind of a fun, it's a free day today. It's just a bonus live stream. It's not really a full lesson. At least I'm going to do a couple more, but you guys are okay? Okay. Code switching. Is that what I said? Did I say code switching, or did I say something else? But yeah, code switching is totally normal. I hope I said the word code switching before, but that's what it is. It's just a normal part of speaking a language. It's a normal part of just speaking any language. Like, I'm going to speak differently if I'm talking with, my younger sibling, who we always joke. And I know if I speak whatever speed or any way I speak, he's going to understand. So why do I need to speak nice and clearly when I'm talking with him? And if I'm doing a live stream, I want to make sure I'm clear so you can hear what I'm saying. If I'm speaking Korean, I want to make sure they hear what I'm saying. So I'll pronounce things a little bit more clearly. And versus if I'm teaching Korean, I'm going to speak a different way. I'll speak very, very slowly and clearly when I speak Korean. But if you hear me speaking Korean in my videos, I don't talk like how I teach Korean, obviously, because that would sound very weird to be like, hello, what is your name? Like, no one talks like that. But that's how I talk when I'm teaching, because it's easy to hear. Okay. First of all, gi. Gi is a meal. That's for counting meals. So if you are going to eat 2 meals a day, you would say 하루에 2끼 먹었어요. Gi is a meal. Now, related word is 인분. This is a portion. So it literally, in is a person, pun is a portion, an amount. So it's a portion for one person of a food. So if you go to a restaurant and you order something that is shared, so any restaurant where you order any type of food dish that is meant to be, you order one and share it with everyone at the table, that is always ordered by 인분. So this one is not pure Korean. This one is Sino-Korean. So 1인분, 1인분 is just enough for one person. 2인분. A lot of restaurants where you do that have a requirement that you have to order at least enough for 2 people or sometimes 3 people. So if you see like 2인분 or whatever, something written on the menu, that's what it means. You don't even need to understand the rest of the menu. If you see a menu that says something 2인분, just know that's going to be a requirement. Like, they don't want to serve people who are going to get 1인분 of a dish that comes with tons of sides and it takes a lot of prep and everything just so that you order one for yourself. So some places though will let you order it if you say, I'll get 2인분, like give me the amount for 2 people. I'll order it. I'll eat it myself. They might do that for you as well. So yeah, 2인분 is how much you eat per person. You can think of this as meaning like a portion or a serving. But yeah, gi is the actual meal. Next we have 조각. 조각 is a piece. A piece of something, like 한 조각. A piece of pizza. Pizza 한 조각. Pizza 한 판 is the whole pizza, but pizza 한 조각 is a piece of pizza. You could also use another word though for piece, and that is 점. 점 actually kind of means like a speck. You can use it for like a tiny little cloud in the sky, like a little tiny speck. It also works for pieces. 한 점, 두 점, 세 점. Or, funnily enough, 점 can also be used for pieces as in like, it's a beautiful piece, like an artwork. Like, today my friend who's an artist sold 3 pieces. Like it's also used for that literal, like how we say piece for an artwork. So 점 means piece or an art piece. And 조각 just means an actual piece, like a fragment of something. Although it doesn't mean fragment. There is another word for fragment, I believe, 파편. But 조각 is for piece. Next we have 덩이. 덩이 is a chunk. So it is a piece, but it's kind of like a big piece. So this would be a chunk of maybe like meat or a big chunk of bread. You can use it for that. You could also use, so 덩이 is one version. You'll also see 덩어리. 덩이 or 덩어리 have the same meaning for a chunk. 덩이, 덩어리. I think I might hear 덩어리 a little bit more, but 덩이 is the more like standard one for that. So 덩이, 덩어리 for a chunk, like a meat or bread. And then last is 송이. 송이 is a cluster of something, literally. So we learned that 알 is for an individual, like a small round thing, like, you know, an egg or a grape or a piece of medicine or something like that. Well, 송이 is used for a cluster of something. So this is going to be things that grow together. So this is going to be like a bunch of grapes, a bouquet of roses, a bunch of bananas, anything like that. Anything that clusters together. So like roses or fruit, they grow together. It's in a cluster. That's a 송이. I'll leave this up for just a few seconds and then I want to do some sentences. 피자 2개 주문해서, so you want to use 판 for pizza, Sherry. Although I only briefly covered that. It wasn't actually part of the lesson. 2개 주문해서 지금 저녁을 먹어야 돼요. 선생님 감사합니다. 다음에 봐요. Yeah, take care, Sherry. You did use a counter, and even if you didn't use 판 for pizza, I still understand you. It still makes sense. 피자 2판을 주문해서 지금 저녁을 먹어야 돼요. 선생님 감사합니다. 다음에 봬요. Yeah, I see they corrected your sentence. 그림 3점. Yeah, 3 paintings. 정말 배고파서 피자 3조각 먹을 것 같아요. Yeah, I'm really hungry. So I think I'm gonna eat 3 pieces of pizza. Or you can say 너무 배고파서 피자 한 판을 혼자서 다 먹을 것 같아요. I think I'm gonna eat a whole pizza all by myself. You can also say that. 다음에 또 뵐게요. Yeah, thanks everyday Korean. 삼겹살 3점. Yeah. 3 pieces of 삼겹살. Yes, 눈송이. Yeah, there are a lot of words that have 송이 in them, but this is the actual counter. Okay. So let's do a couple sentences again. 고기 세 something 잘랐어요. So I cut 3 something of meat. And 장미꽃, roses. 2 something 가져왔어요. I brought 2 something of roses. So what would you put in these sentences? Just like 30 seconds and I'll give you the answers. Sherry says I might eat the whole pizza. So there's a pizza place I found that has 28-inch pizzas. I think, yeah. It's not too close to me, but it's not too far. I could go there, pick up lunch, and get back within like 20 minutes or so. It should be okay. 28-inch pizza. I am so tempted. I can't even eat that. That is ridiculous. Normally I'll get a pizza that's like, what do I normally get? 20-inch pizza is normally the biggest I can eat. And I can't eat the whole thing, but I'll eat like a third of it. Maybe a half if I'm like dying, but like usually a third of it. But this is a 28-inch pizza. I have to try it. It's like that big. can't even show you on the screen. It's like almost 3 feet in diameter. I want to get it. The only problem is, one, that's a lot of pizza. One slice is equivalent to like a medium-sized pizza. An entire medium-sized pizza is one slice. 2 slices, now you got a whole Costco pizza in there. Not joking. It's gigantic. Like one slice is going to be this big. Can't even show you. Like this big would be one slice. Anyway, but it's so big, but it's like $60. That's the thing I'm wrestling with. But I'm probably still going to get it just because it's pizza. And I can save it. And if you heat it up in a frying pan really slow, you can get it tasting like new again. 고기 세 동아리, not 동아리, 덩어리. 동아리 is another word. 동아리 is like that's how you say like a club, like a group for people who are interested in the same hobby. That would be 동아리 or 동호회, either one. 동아리 would be like a club. So the word you're looking for is 덩어리. Oh yeah, I see you fixed it. Yeah. 장미꽃 2송이를 가져왔어요. Okay. Yeah. So 고기 세, you can either have 덩이 or 덩어리, either one. 잘랐어요. So I cut off 3 chunks of meat and 장미꽃 roses 2송이. Again, 송이 is like a cluster of something, anything that grows together. So in this case, roses, but it's not just roses. It's basically like, yeah, whatever you'd call that, but not a bouquet. Okay. There's seven counters left. So I can do this. Okay. Next we have, actually, I'm just going to give you all of them. Okay. 묶음. 묶음 is a bundle of something. Normally the verb 묶다 is for tying something. So this is just something that's been bundled together. So anything that's sold as a bundle. So you can have like a bundle of books, or it's also used for a pack of ramen. So if you're going to buy a pack of ramen, they're not tied together, but kind of. They're in a package together. So you buy a 묶음 of ramen. 봉지 is a pack of something. So this one's a really common word. It's also used just regularly as a noun really often, but any sort of bag of something. So if you buy like a bag of chips, that kind of bag is 봉지. Next we have gram, which is just grams. Now I put this one on here. It's not just gram, but it's any sort of measurement is going to be using Sino-Korean numbers as well. So if you have, oh yeah, I should mark. These ones are all Sino-Korean. And these ones above, all the other ones we've been doing mostly have been pure Korean. So gram or kilograms or liters or whatever, those are all done with Sino-Korean numbers, as well as degrees. Do. Do is for degrees. Celsius or Fahrenheit. 1 is, you already know, that's 1. That's the Korean currency. Oh, Muku. Muku, thank you. I do have room for you. Muku says 20 years. Congrats. Thank you. Yeah, I know. It's been a long time since I started studying Korean. I kind of want to find if I can contact any of my friends from college, especially the one that taught me the alphabet, and be like, hey, thanks. thanks for getting me interested in Korean. Yeah, that'd be fun, but I don't have contact. I don't know how to contact any of them. I think there are 2. One of them is my Facebook friend, but they don't use Facebook. The other 2, I have no clue. No clue what they're doing. 봉지 is also the name of a famous cat on YouTube. Really? I didn't know that. But yeah, 봉지 is used for any sort of bag or package. 층 is for building floors. So if you ask what floor is it? 몇 층이에요? 1층에 있어요. It's on the first floor. 10층에 있어요. It's on the 10th floor, like that. And then last but not least is 등급, which is a grade. So a grade, like I am a grade 4 in math, or I made it with like grade 1 milk, which is like in Korea, the grade 1 is considered like the high grade. Or it was like a magnitude grade 3 star in like I saw a grade 3 star through a telescope or something like that. Any sort of grade is 등급 or level like that. I'm going to give you a couple sentences. I'm just going to leave this up for a second. Kevin says it can keep the eggs in your freezer company. I'm not going to freeze pizza though. I guess it freezes well, but it never lasts. I mean, I've never had a problem eating pizza. And I've had a lot of pizza before. We had Jeremy's birthday party. I remember when we got like 4 pizzas and people only ate like 2. So we had 2 whole big pizzas left over. They lasted like 3 days. Like it's so easy to eat pizza. You just take one out. You can eat it cold. Throw it in the microwave, throw it in the air fryer, throw it in the oven, throw it on a frying pan. It's like, there's no problem. And you can, it's 8 o'clock at night. You want something to eat, just grab a piece of pizza. Yeah, no problem ever finishing pizza, which is why I'm thinking I'm going to get one of those big pizzas, even though I can't eat it. I can't eat it all. Even me and my wife and Jeremy, we couldn't eat it all. It's too big. I know, because I can eat a large pizza from that place in like 2 meals. Their regular large pizza is half as big, and it takes me 2 meals to eat that. But this is twice as big as that. So I'm not going to be able to eat very much, but it's not going to last more than a week, I know. So it's kind of a waste to bother freezing it when I know it's not going to last more than a few days. Muku says, I started learning in 2015, so it's my 10 year. Oh, wow, nice. Do you remember what month or what day it was? ML says, I started learning last month. Wow. How long has everyone been learning Korean? Let me know in the chat. How long have you been learning Korean for? Let me actually do a poll. Oh, wait. Actually, let me see. I can do this. What's this here? Does this work? It's like a little Q&A. You know what? I'm going to cancel this. I don't know what this is. This is not working. It's yeah, I'm just going to do a poll. Okay. Let's see how many options okay. Okay, I'm making a poll. You can also tell me in the chat, but I also want you to answer the poll too. The poll is just a general thing to kind of see it, and let me know in the chat as well. I'm gonna give you a couple sentences. I don't want to erase Muku's name here. There we go. Phew, that's close. So we got Flo has donated to my retirement fund, but everyone else didn't specify. So so it's going toward the pizza fund. It's going toward my extra large pizza fund, which I'm going to eat this week, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. 2 years. I'm reading everyone's comments really quick. 2 years, 2 months, second anniversary. My wife's Korean. I've been learning on and off for 15 years. Wow. 2018 or something. Just past 2 years, 20 months, 14 months off and on because depression. LMAO. Okay, that means you actually have depression. If you were serious about it, it's not. But because you added the LMAO, I know it's actually legitimate depression now. Sorry to hear that, but hopefully when you're studying Korean, hopefully when you're here with me for at least a few hours, you can feel a little bit more like yourself. That's my hope. I actually do have some I don't like getting too much into personal stuff. One of my siblings actually does have like severe depression, so I know what it is. So yeah, hang in there, bro. Hang in there. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna give you a couple sentences here. Let's just do yodel. That's one sentence, and then actually let's not do that. Let's do I can't even ask this. This wouldn't make sense because it's too easy. That's giving you the answer. Let's do a different one. Some of these are so easy. The problem with these Sino-Korean ones is just by writing the sentence, I'm already giving you the answer. Because they're just measuring things, right? Yeah, I'm just giving you the answer by writing these. I'm just going to give you this one sentence then, and I'll explain it. Bill, whoa, wow, Bill. Bill, wow. Bill Sigler, or is it Sigler? Sorry. 20년 만에 이제 곱창의 시간이 왔어요. 곱창의 시장? 곱창의 시간? Is this my gift? Are you telling me to eat 곱창? I can totally eat 곱창 with $100. I can get so much 곱창. Jeremy can get 곱창. Wow. Dang. Thank you so much, Bill. But why is it the 곱창 time? What makes it the 곱창 time? Kai says, Billy knows the depression code. I know the depression code. And I have a couple friends with it as well. It's a thing. Yeah. But I think it should be okay to talk about it. Right? I don't have it. I think. Yeah, I don't think I have it. But, because I mean, feeling depressed is not the same as having depression. They're different things. Everyone can feel depressed. Not everyone has depression. They're different things. But yeah. Distractions are good. K-I-Led. I still don't know how to say your name. How do I say your name? I kept saying like Kai-Led. Or is it Key-Led? I started learning 10 years ago, but I lost motivation, so I really only count the last 3 to 5 months. That's fair. That's totally fair. I mean, if you want to get really technical, I learned a few Korean words in high school. Does that mean I studied Korean for like 2 years before I started studying Korean? No, like I didn't know I just knew like random 2 words. I wasn't studying it. So you count as much as you want to count. If you took a break, don't count it. If it's been like a long time, don't count it. All it does is kills your motivation if you tell yourself, I've been studying for this many years and I can't speak Korean. Like, don't do that to yourself. There's no reason. I know. I'm totally going to get pizza. It's this, I mentioned this about an hour ago, but there's a pizza place not too far from my house, 20 minutes or so, that makes 28-inch pizzas. 28 inches is really big. It's almost 3 feet. And I don't care that I can't eat that much pizza. I just don't you want that size of a pizza? Doesn't everyone want to just hold up a piece of pizza that's bigger than your head? I'm totally going to get it. but it's like $60 for a pizza, which is ridiculous because I can get a pizza for like $8 at Little Caesars. But 28 inches. So yeah, I'm totally going to do that. Yes, thank you, of course, so much, everyone who's donated today. I didn't go over everything on the cheat sheets. There is more. If I went over everything, we would never be gone because each counter on this cheat sheet has 3-sentence examples and additional counters that we didn't even cover. For example, for the counter we just did for chung, for building floors, I also have the counter hu for room numbers. There are lots of other counters on here as well as the numbers. We didn't go over everything here. The numbers one shows you how to say numbers all the way up to 100 million. And it goes through, like walks you through how to calculate it out. It has all the numbers, has all the exceptions. So these are also going to be coming out in a few weeks. As well as the cheat sheet for how to tell the time, as well as the cheat sheet for all of the colors, at least all of the worth knowing colors in Korean. Made it really pretty. The colors one, I'm especially happy with because I actually made this twice. I was going to release it as part of the original cheat sheets, the first 6, but it had all the information on it, but it was so ugly because I didn't know how to organize. Like, how do you organize colors, right? You can't put them in a wheel or else there's no information. There's nowhere to write something. And I didn't want to just say this color is like ha늘색, 핑크색, the end. No, I want like there are multiple ways to say each color, as you know. It's like, well, here, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 different ways I listed for standard blue, not including like sky blue or turquoise or heavy or navy blue. But just for regular blue. So I wanted to include all that. So I finally came up with a way. So that's why it didn't release last time. It will release this time. But that'll be after probably next month. KII. Keyled. I've never been all that picky about pronouncing my usernames. Keith says, wait. Keith says, years ago, I worked at Little Caesars and we had a 28-inch pie. I think we had a 32. When did Little Caesars have that big of a pizza? Kupchang in English means retirement fund. That is true. That is true. I rarely get donations for Kupchang. Usually my donations are for, in this order, markers, because I eat through my markers. And after that, it'll be Jeremy. Jeremy's bought his year's subscription of Minecraft for Nintendo Switch, his yearly subscription. He bought that already. And then he bought a Kiwano melon, which is, it's the spiky yellow melons that you've probably seen at the market and you're like, what the heck is that thing? I wonder what it's like. He bought that. It's like $8, but he was like going crazy for it. So he spent his money and he bought that. And it tastes actually pretty good. It's kind of like sweet cucumber with a really strong lime flavor. And it's all like slimy and gooey, but it's not in a bad way, just like liquidy. And there are little seeds and you can eat the seeds. They're not like hard or anything. They're just like tiny seeds. You just eat them. It's really good, actually. It was like a lime flavored slime, cucumber texture. Like the inside of a cucumber. Anyway, it was good. I liked it. I would eat it again. Yeah, Jeremy Fund. Roy G. Biv. Ah! So maybe it should be Key Roy GB. Or Roy G. Biv. Yeah. The green just disappears? Oh, yeah, it's because I'm outside today. Normally we're inside, but I thought today's a little special occasion, so I'll show you outside. So that's why we're over here. Okay, most people said they've been learning Korean more than 1 year and less than 5 years. Interesting. But the next largest amount was people learning less than 1 year, which makes sense. Most people learn Korean for just a few months and then they stop. And I get it, because Korean, it's like, it sounds fun, and it is fun, and it sounds like it'll be easy, and it is easy, but also it takes a lot of time. And when you reach things like, I mean, you're going to hit sound change rules whether you use my resources or not. Sound change rules are a thing in Korean that you encounter from the very beginning. But a lot of times when people hit sound change rules or verb conjugations, they're like, oh, wow, I'm out, or I actually have other things to do. I'm busy. If you get past that, if you get lots of input, so lots of listening practice, not dramas, not shows, but I would say YouTube channels or maybe variety shows or streamers, any of those, get lots of that. And then make some Korean friends. I think my stomach's like, after eating the pie. It's all like rumbling. Maybe it wants more pie. Get lots of listening practice, and then get Korean friends that you can practice speaking with, or at least chatting with. You're going to be solid. Everyone that I talk with who's been learning Korean for more than a few years, but can't yet have basic conversations. You won't be fluent after a year, but conversational. Yeah, I'd say conversational. If you're not conversational, it's been like 2-3 years. The reason is going to be that, like 9 out of 10. It's just they're not listening to any sort of listening practice besides, like, K-pop doesn't count. Dramas don't count. But historical dramas especially don't count. But if you're like, get YouTubers, streamers, variety shows, listen to it as much as you can, no English subtitles, you're going to make some progress. But I understand most people, though, don't get to a point where they can even start adding those things in, because they get to the first thing that feels like a little bit of resistance and then they just stop. But yeah, I'll let you know that the hardest thing about learning Korean is not any of that stuff. It's not sound change rules. It's not conjugating whatever. It's just the fact that it takes a lot of time. And I think a lot of people start to realize as they're learning, oh, wait, it's been like 4 months, and how come I can't speak anything yet? Like, yeah, that's normal. It takes a long time. So I think that's kind of the hardest part about Korean, is just accepting that it takes a long time. Lady Natbug said, did you get the Buddha's hand? So they don't sell it. That's why he bought the Kiwano melon instead. He didn't only buy the Kiwano melon. He also bought another fruit too. I can't remember what it was. He got another fruit too, but it was a smaller one, but I can't remember what he bought. But no, we went there to get the Buddha's hand and they didn't have any right now. So we'll try again. But I suggested making the Buddha's hand scones to my wife, and she also thought that was a good idea. So what I suggested is use lemon for the recipe part, but add in the Buddha's hand for the zest and a little bit of the juice. So you get like a Buddha's hand flavored lemon scone. I thought would be great. And she was thinking about it. She's like, yeah, actually that'd probably be good. But yeah, they didn't have that there. Lara says, ni hao. Muku says, my first, what the heck oh wait, Carol, sorry. Carol. Hey, I got a donation from Carol. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm just checking the name. Sometimes people have different usernames, but it'll only show me the PayPal email, and it might be a different thing. But yeah, in this case, I see it's the same. Thank you so much, Carol. Do you have a message to say as well? I can read on the chat. Oh, and I got another donation. Nana? Who's that? Someone else just donated. I have no clue who this is. But they said, hold on. Oh, Carol did say, thank you for teaching us, Billy. Now I see that. Nana? Who is Nana? Nana just sent me $50 donation. Nana says, happy 20th Korean learning anniversary. Does the time change mean we get longer streams until DST ends? No, just today. Because normally I have to keep these streams relatively short, because I have to, as soon as they finish, I have to throw the whole stream into my editing program and really quickly crunch down 2 hours or 2.5 hours into 10, 15 minutes. So I can't do them longer, or else I just won't be able to edit them. But today I don't really care. I'm not going to edit this. It's just a live stream for an anniversary. So I don't really care. That's why I'm doing this. Like, it's already been 40 minutes longer than normal. Even on a long day, I'll stop at like 4. Thank you so much, Nana. I'm not sure who you are in the chat though. Are you in the chat or are you one of my, silent viewers that doesn't talk? Thank you, whoever you are. I mean, I know who you are now because your donation showed up, but thank you. Ambi says, I did the math. I started in 2019. I was close in my guess. Okay. Zula says, what about listening to Korean podcasts? That is like the best thing you could possibly do. The problem is most people don't do that because you get no feedback on what you're listening to when you're doing a podcast. You don't know what, like, if you didn't understand what they're talking about, you miss the entire thing. Whereas if you're watching a show, like a variety show or YouTuber, you can still kind of figure out what's going on by the context. With a podcast, you have no idea. But podcasts are better. Here's why. Because they know you don't have any other thing to reference. And even for their Korean audience, they know that if they don't make what they're saying very clear, like if it's a story, they have to describe it really clearly. Or if they're talking about something, they have to speak about it very clearly because they know the viewers have no context as to what's going on unless they hear it. So because of that, you get very clear, accurate, easy to understand Korean. And they have a lot of fun podcasts. Like there are one that me and Jeremy like to listen to is like some horror podcasts. They have a lot of really cool podcasts if you're okay with that. But I don't recommend it. I mean, I don't push it on people. I don't say like, oh, you should do podcasts because of that difficulty level. Like it's hard if you don't get it. But if you're someone who likes that, by all means, that's the best. That's like the cream of the crop, as they say, is podcasts. Kitty Mommy says, I've only been learning since last summer. Oh, wow. Okay. Very, very recently. My weakness is reading and pronouncing, sounding out new words. Don't worry about if you're someone who says your weakness is reading, do not worry about that. That comes later. Yeah, that's not something to worry about right now. You should be worrying most about your listening and your speaking. So if you're worried about your reading, don't worry about that. That'll come on its own. Pronouncing, sounding out new words, that's fine. That weakness is sound change rules. And you don't need to stress about that. I have a cheat sheet with all the sound change rules. I think I should have posted in the chat. I don't know if it eventually ever posted. Is this going to work this time? Maybe the bot is down, or maybe that command is broken. I don't know. Let me see. That's the second time it hasn't responded. Cheat sheets. Cheat sheets. Oh, it's not in my channel. Well, that explains it. Cheat sheets. Work. Darn you. Is it gonna work now? I see the reason why it wasn't working before is because it some reason wasn't in the... Yeah, it left the chat for some reason. So I told it to join again. So we'll see. Kenneth Lee. All right, so I'll take a couple questions. I'm going to leave by 5 o'clock. 15 minutes, I'm gone. Pada says, this is crazy, but today's also my birthday. Oh, nice. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. 생일 축하합니다. 생일 축하합니다. 사랑하는 바다님. 생일 축하합니다. That's how you say happy birthday in Korean. It's really easy. Yeah, it bot. I don't know if it's gone, but it's not responding. Okay, let's do some Korean advice hotline. So give me your situation for studying, what you need help with, and I'll give you some live advice right now. Kenneth says, I put more than a year, but in terms of actual study time, it's probably been a lot less than a year because I'm not actually doing much of any studying. Not because I'm lazy, but I've just never been able to study, even in English. But I recently watched the film Parasite entirely in Korean. Nice. Speaking of which, the director put out a new movie just a few days ago. It's not bad. It's okay. Mickey 17, it was okay. Definitely don't take your kids to it. So, Nasteria came. Oh, okay. Oh, Nasteria. Nice. I did miss that. Let's see. Nasteria. I still don't see it. I still don't see it. I'm looking, but I don't see it. Okay, there's Nightbot. Okay. Velula says, number one issue is remembering vocab. I'm studying Korean at university and the vocab just doesn't stick well. Can you give me an example, Velula, of a vocab word that doesn't stick? Because I need a little more context. Zula says, how do you know which letter to pronounce in double final consonants? If it's at the end of a word, it's very rare that you're going to have to worry about this issue. If it's between a word, all you do is look at regular sound change rules and you look at the very last letter. And that's the one that'll apply to the sound change rule. There is an exception when when it's two and one of them is a lir, in which case most of the time, it's not the lir that you're going to pronounce. If it's the L letter, essentially. Most of the time it's not, although there are some words where it is. Most of the time it's not. It's the whatever letter is not the L letter. But if it's any other two letters, you just use the regular sound change rules and you look at the very last one. That's it. You don't really need to memorize any special rules for that though. It's the regular sound change rules. And I have a cheat sheet that you can get. As the Nightbot finally posted, there's some cheat sheets, and one of them is all of the sound change rules on one sheet of paper. Cosma says, in the sentence, 네가 나보다 더 빠르게 일자리를 찾을 리가 만무해. Why does 네가 sound better than 너는? I feel like the contrast with 너는 sounds better, but a Korean corrected me. Because, were you here last week, Cosma? I did kind of explain this, but, oh, I need to say the answer. 과자를 여러 봉지. 뜯었어요. 뜯다 is to, oops. 뜯다 is to peel open. So I opened up several, 여러 is several, many, bags of 과자. 과자 is typically just used for chips, but it's any sort of like crunchy snack, like anything that's in those bags is considered to be 과자. Yeah, if you were here last week and Lady Notebook says, perfect. Yeah. Kenneth, oh, I keep saying Leon, I'm sorry, because I can't read with the font. Ian, just like Ian, it has an extra I because I'm quirky. Holds up spork. No, but in seriousness, I just try to immerse myself as much as possible. Okay. So you're asking, why would you want to use like 너는, or why would you want to use 내가? It's actually pronounced as ni. Just know that. So that's just the difference between the topic marker and the subject marker. And I'll do this again really quick. I did it last week. So if you heard it, it's not going to hurt to hear it again. If you've already learned the differences between the markers, then you can follow along with this. If you haven't, do not use this as the only reference for the difference between the topic and subject marker. But this is one more thing that should help you. The feeling of the topic marker is what we do in English. And the I'll explain. And the feeling of the subject marker, which is E or ka, feels like this. So you if it's a different pronoun, let's say I, 저는, I versus 제가, I. When do you say I and when do you say I in English? I said that you didn't do it. 나는 네가 안 했다고 했어요. 말했어요. That's when anytime you're quoting, you're going to use this one first because you're introducing something, right? It adds more emphasis. And you use the second one because that's something you're just talking about. You're just marking it as the subject of something. You are cool. Well, you're cool. That's the nuance difference between these two. So for your sentence, are you trying to say you or you? Think of it in English, your sentence in English. There are many times when a sentence is grammatically correct with either of these nuances. So it's not correct to say, oh, you have to use this sentence. This sentence has to use the topic marker. And this sentence has to use the subject marker. There is no such thing as that in Korean. Don't let anyone tell you that a sentence is wrong because it uses 100% wrong and could never be wrong because it uses one or the other. It could be correct, but what they mean is it sounds awkward because it doesn't match the situation. Like if you were to say, well, who stole my pizza? You stole my pizza? Would you say that? No, you'd say you stole my pizza, right? But I bought the pizza. How come you're eating it? I bought the pizza. How come you're eating it? You could use it both to mark 난 피자를 샀는데 너는 왜 먹어? 내가 샀어. I bought the pizza. 내가 샀는데 너는 왜 먹어? I bought the pizza. Why are you eating it? You can do a lot of combination with that. And one of them might sound more natural than the other, but you could still get away with the other in the right context. Like, who ate my pizza? You wouldn't say, Charsu ate the pizza, right? But you could say, Charsu, he wasn't even here, so he couldn't eat the pizza. That's fine. Charsu ate the pizza. You'd use the subject marker for that. So that's the nuance difference. But again, this doesn't encompass all of the uses because you also know that just knowing this doesn't really tell you completely when to use one or the other. This one is also, topic marker is used to like introduce something. By introducing it, you're like, hey, as for this, let's talk about this. But the nuance of that is this sort of feeling like, hey, like this. But yeah, so there are going to be sentences where both work. Without any context, either one is going to work. And then even in the context, one of them will sound more natural, but technically if you use the other one, you still have a correct sentence. It just has a different meaning that you probably wouldn't want. So that's why teachers like myself or other teachers might say one of them is right or wrong. What we mean is in that situation, that one sounds unnatural because it's not being used correctly. But you shouldn't just learn this. You should also learn the different uses of each one. But this is kind of just an extra thing that I noticed. I haven't seen other people talk about it, so I didn't want to talk about it until like last year, I think was the first time I started mentioning it because I was like, oh, no one's going to talk about it, but I think it pretty much works. So I'm going to start teaching it. But yeah, that should kind of help you for what we do. Yeah, Mikey says, as for you, yeah, as for when it comes to is another way you can translate it. But if you're using it in the middle of a sentence, it can be kind of hard to understand. Should I say like as for you or when it comes to in this case? So except for basic sentences, like when you start the sentence with one or the other, that translation doesn't always work. It works just for when the sentence starts with something like 저는, 제가, or whatever. As for me, then it works at the beginning of a sentence. But in the middle of a sentence, or when you use multiple of them, it doesn't quite work. It makes it a little bit difficult to translate since we don't really have anything like that in English. But we do have this in English. Everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. If you walk up to a random stranger and you want to say tigers are cute, which one would you use? Tigers, they're cute. Tigers are cute. Like, which one would you use if you don't want them to run away and scream? Like, you probably would want to use this. Like, say you're at the zoo and you walk up to a random person. You're going to say, the tigers are cute. Or you're going to say, tigers, they're cute. Like, these are different things you're saying, right? They're both the same sentence, but they have different nuance. And one of them could be awkward. If you're like right in front of the tiger cages, then maybe you can do this one. If you're not, you better do this one. Because if you do this one, they're going to be like, what tiger? Like, what are you talking about? I mean, if you use this one, it's like, oh, I see. They're just talking about tigers, right? But if you use this one, it's like, oh, there's the tigers. I see what you're talking about. We kind of know this instinctually in English, but they don't do this in Korean, so it doesn't quite make sense. Anyway, that's kind of how it works. But I feel like if you keep this in mind, it'll help you to use it a lot more in your sentences, because you'll see Koreans actually use the topic marker a lot. When they're saying a sentence, they'll add in nun or un or whatever multiple times in the same sentence. And it's just this, like what we would do in English, like when you're just adding emphasis to something. Oh, okay. Valula replied to what I was saying before. They said, I can remember things like to do, play, watch. But when it comes to other vocab like fruit, apple, pencil, I just don't remember them easily. Okay, yes. I was curious because I wanted to ask what types of vocab you said you're having trouble remembering. If these were advanced words or if these are beginner words. They are beginner words. That is totally normal. It just means you're too new of a beginner. You have not encountered those words enough. The very basic words, do not stress about memorizing basic vocabulary. You will learn basic vocabulary whether you want to or not, because it is used so much. Like, do you know the word sarang? Like, you could literally have started studying Korean a week ago, and I bet you know the word sarang. Why? Is it because you studied it so hard? No, it's because you've heard it a million times. Kimchi, right? 안녕하세요. You know these words. You don't need to study them. All of the basic vocabulary word, like there's a good 1,000 or so basic vocabulary words. You're not going to ever have to study because you're just going to hear them and use them yourself so much. Making your example sentences, you're going to come back to use them all the time. So I would not stress about vocabulary in the very early stages at all. Just write them down, Instead, practice on getting lots of exposure, especially to in that early stage. You don't really need to worry so much about watching shows and podcasts yet. Just try to get the exposure enough to whatever resources you're using, like audio files for books you're using or whatever like that. And don't worry about that. All of them are basic. You'll get them all. I promise you. You'll get all of them. Oh, Tony, thank you. Happy 20. I'm getting lots of $20 donations. This is nice. Thank you so much, Tony. Happy 20th. Yeah. I mean, I don't know the exact day. I just know it was sometime early spring because it was right after my semester started. So it could have been as early as January or February, or could have been later, like April or May, but it was definitely before my summer break. So I'm just going to say it was around now. Yeah. And when I was first learning the alphabet from a friend at college, I still remember it just like it was 20 years ago. I barely remember anything, but I do kind of remember trying to learn the alphabet and the Korean friend stressing that I couldn't even put two letters together. I was horrible. And then as soon as they finished teaching me, I forgot everything. So, yep. But it technically counts. That's when I started. Nun puts the emphasis on the action itself, while Igop focuses on who is doing the action. Well, the reason that it does is for this. So, I like kimchi. Is the emphasis on the action? No, the emphasis is on me. It's not on like. I like kimchi. Now it's on I like, right? You get the emphasis on the verb, like. So that's how it works. But there are a lot of specific rules, like, oh, this does this, and this does this, and this marks this. So you should know that stuff first. But then when you know that and you want a little bit of help, okay, well, which one should I use in this situation, Billy? I get the rules, but still, why is this one wrong? Then that. The crystal ball says, I've been practicing my numbers for the last week or so, like phone numbers, time, and counting objects. It's definitely been interesting. Yeah, nice. For counting numbers, I recommend just count 1 to 10 when you walk up the stairs. When you go down the stairs, count pure Korean when you walk up and Sino Korean when you walk down, or vice versa. Don't really stress too much about numbers, but you do want to at least be able to count 1 to 10. Try that. Like, don't stress too much about basic vocabulary. Any sort of basic concept you're going to be exposed to it so much. It's more about just learn that it exists, take notes, try to practice using it, and then trust that you're going to get enough input, enough listening practice that it's going to become second nature. That basic stuff will, at least. So if it's not, then that obviously means you need more listening practice. And usually what most people lack is listening practice. Oh, also I saw a comment. I'm just scrolling up, making sure I don't miss. Bill had also said, thanks for everything you do for your community. Yeah, thank you. I'm able to do stuff because I'm supported by members. I have book sales. I have Patreon, YouTube ads. All that stuff allows me to be able to keep doing this. And I would like to keep doing it forever, if that's okay. Okay, let me see if there's another comment here. Nanan and Nega mini lesson was what I needed. Nice. I mean, I did it last week too, but you can hear it more than once. Yeah, take care, Muku. Yeah, I think I'm good for today. I think that's all I'm going to do for today. I could keep streaming, but I had a lot of fun. I ate pie. Somehow, one bag of tea, it was like one little tiny bag of tea, was able to fill up this entire thing. That was like really strong tea. I don't know how that worked, but it worked. Thank you for a great 20 years. Hold on. I got an email. Oh, that's from YouTube. Google emailed me. I'm like, oh, Google, maybe Google donated. Google's like, your domain registration is coming up soon. So I gotta re-register for my domains. GoBillyKorean.com, GoBillyKorea.com, and I think I also have KoreanMadeSimple.com, which I don't even think I use that. Enjoy your 28 pizza. Yes, thank you, Jake. Oh, Keyled asks, would it help to learn specifically vocab for like everyday life and practice while interacting with things that would prompt that vocabulary and identifying it? I don't recommend specifically just learning vocab. I think it's okay to have it for a reference, but any vocab you learn that's beginner level, it really should come with examples. Like, it really needs to come with examples. I would not ever say download a list of random, like the names of the animals or something like that, unless it came with example sentences for how to use them and they weren't all the exact same sentence copy pasted. Yeah, you want to have some sort of sentence to get exposed to it, not just the word. But if you have a resource like that where it introduces words and every single one comes with an example sentence, and sometimes multiple example sentences, if it's something that has multiple meanings, then yeah, I think that's fine to do. Kai says you have to do that for at least 100,000. Oh yeah, no, I'm hoping someday I can make $100,000 a year. So I got to live to 100,000. That way Kai will donate $100,000 for my 100,000th year anniversary live stream. Then I'll know I've made it. Then I can retire. It only counts if you say the number in Korean. Yeah. I do notice my sentence decks in Anki are easier to go through. Yeah, that's not a coincidence. Now, when you get to the intermediate and advanced level, it's not so much because you know how to use words anyway. Like if you learn the word of a disease or whatever, you don't need to learn how to say caught the disease or the disease is going around the area. Like, you know those words because you've seen them with other stuff. So you can just learn words as is when you get to the advanced level, which is kind of nice. But the problem with that is now you're learning the most random words ever. What was the most random? 상완골, I'm trying to think. That's not really that crazy. Like your upper arm bone, like, you know, really specific stuff. Like you got to learn the names of like individual bones. You learn like the names of like animal classifications, like all these different random disease names, molecule names. Like you might think it's useless to know like natrium is like sodium. Like you might need that though sometimes. But that's the kind of stuff you're left with learning when you get to the advanced level, because you already know the basic stuff. You already know the animals, the colors, you know, all that stuff. So what's left? Well, it's going to be like really specific vocabulary, like a revolt, or there was what is it last year with the Keomyong, martial law, right? They're like, you know, like random words like that is stuff you're going to be learning when you get to the advanced level. But in the beginning level, don't worry about it like that. Just learn it in a sentence. It's going to be more useful. Bill says, I can't remember vocab. I have to use the words in context. Yeah, that's fine. Make sentences and annoy my family by pointing and talking to myself. The funny thing is you're doing that even before you're learning Korean. Yeah, anyway. I don't remember spelling because most of the vowels in Korean are the same. Spelling is just something you memorize like English, because we have different spelling rules in English. Korean has different spelling as well. So you just have to memorize how it's spelled. 10만 years? Yeah, 10만 years, 100,000 years. I learned archaeopteryx from a drama. What is that? Archaeopteryx? I don't even know what that means. Anyway, that's good for today. Thank you so much. Really, thank you so much to everyone who watched today, everyone who donated today. Kai, Carrie, Jean, Flo, Joe, Lido, Muku, Bill, Carol, Nasteria, Tony. Thank you. And here's to another 20 years. And next Sunday, we'll have an actual class. I know today wasn't really a class, although we still did learn some stuff. Today wasn't really a class. It was just a fun live stream. A feathered dinosaur. Oh, okay. I didn't know that word. And I'm not going to learn it. Take care, everyone, and I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.